Or
gather round, freaks, because it's time for us to deep dive into the Grimoire of Familiar Killers, because it's back, covered in ooze and goo and all that good stuff. In this movie, there's a lot of worms and body swapping and all sorts of nasty ooze. So gather around the internet radio for this week's episode of Hey, did you see this one?
The night is dark, and the air is still. The moon casts an eerie glow over the internet, where a group of curious individuals have gathered to discuss their shared fascination for the macabre. They hold in their hands a book with a foreboding presence, bound in flesh and inked in blood, a tome of horror that only opens its pages when a sacrifice is made. Within its ancient passages lie the secrets of the most infamous murderers and monsters of all time. Join us. But beware, for once this book is open, there's no telling what horrors may be unleashed. This is the Grimoire of Familiar Killers.
welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? This is episode 222. We're going to take a movie. We're going to tear it apart. We're going to talk about every single element. What did you say? Sorry,
I said hold for applause.
Hold for applause. I do have an.
I fucked my voice up doing that, Freddie.
Well, we did have a video from our friend last week that I forgot to play, so I'll just pop that in here right now. Oh, somebody at the door. Oh.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Steve. I'm a little under the weather today, but nothing's going to stop me from acknowledging that you guys are about to do episode 221 of the podcast. And, I mean, even though I'm pretty sure I'm going to be dead in the next 20 minutes, I got to shout it from the mountaintop. 221. That's only one away from 222. Anyways, I just know you guys are going to kill it. So, love ya. Hope I see you soon. I genuinely hope that I see you soon.
He actually is dead. So
you did play that last week.
Did I?
Yeah. You did.
We got silly last week. Anyway, welcome to this one. The Grimoire of Familiar Killers is, of course, open once again. Last week we talked about Scream 2. That's the new guard. The old guard is still here with Jason. He is still skulking around, going from body to body, I suppose. And this week we're going to break down Jason Goes to Hell, the final Thursday. My name is Jason R. Phillips Goes to Hell, the final Thursday. I'm joined as always by Stephen Boba Blackfly Waters and Joining us for the first time, the star of stage and screen. He is an artist of many facets, a podcaster, a comedian, a star of television. Please welcome to the show for the very first time, television's Cody Crain.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all of those applause. I don't see that amount of people in the room right now, but like, it's nice that they're there.
They're behind the
behind-
green screen.
Yeah, they're behind the green.
Where they belong.
I hear you.
So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you picked the worst movie of the month, probably, to come talk about.
I didn't pick this. You
Did I?
for me.
You forced
No,
me
that
to do this.
Yeah, that little clip beforehand. I was looking at all the other movies. I was like, "Oh, that one would have been nice. Yeah, that one would have been."
You're right. I did message you at 3:00 in the morning to be like, "Do you want to do this movie?" And then you were like, "Yes." You messaged me back like the same night, so that's great. Well, thank you for coming. We are going to holy shit. Thank you, Travis. Thank you. This guy's gonna put my kid through college. Thank you, Travis. Don't let this distract you from the show, but good afternoon, guys. Save some Jason's fingers for me. Yeah, that's incredible. We appreciate you, Travis.
That's a deep
This
cut
guy,
to this movie.
yeah.
It's a very throwaway line.
Yeah. Where are we at? What's the first segment of the show? I think we can go.
Well, I think we have to do a brief synopsis for our Lord and Savior Zardos.
That's true. Zordas.
Zardas speaks to you.
Zardos
He
is here.
demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
Jeez, so demanding, that guy.
Every week he asks us to do a brief synopsis of the film. Steven, do you want to hit us with a very quick one? There's not a lot going on in this movie.
Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, is the movie where he finally goes to hell. In the beginning, he is doing his old tricks. I think this movie just basically ignores the last two movies, but who gives a shit? He is basically swatted, I guess, and gets blown to smithereens. His body parts are then brought to a lab, some sort of government facility, I suppose, where what do you call those guys that do the autopsies? A guy in the lab, the creeps that work in the morgue. He's doing an autopsy, and then he eats Jason's heart and becomes Jason, and then he body swaps to a bunch of different people in order to finalize a ritual that will allow him to get his body back, because he needs to get his soul back into someone who's a blood relative of his. And a bunch of characters get killed, just like in every Jason movie, just in a slightly different, less formulaic way than the rest of the series would have you prepared for. Yeah, that's more or less the breakdown of Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday.
Yeah, they had a bunch of stuff like I guess he had a sister or a blood relative and all that stuff that's like new. It's weird that they try to add all this shit in because clearly they wanted to turn this into a bigger franchise, and then they just cut them off at the knees.
This was actually their way of sort of trying to toe tip into the crossover realm of Freddy versus Jason. But because Wes Craven was making his new Nightmare movie, they were like, well, we can't wait for this. We got to do something. So this is what they came up with. And they were trying to like sprinkle in some little bits and pieces from other franchises they could potentially cross over with. But unfortunately, this movie did financially worse than any other Jason that's ever existed. So.
I can't imagine how nice Freddy Krueger's sweater would have been if it was a Wes Anderson movie.
Such vibrant colors, yeah.
Like,
and he definitely would have had 2 claw gloves, because you cannot live without the symmetry,
Yeah.
Yep.
This felt like they were trying to take from everything that was successful around them, like the the sister thing is like this weird like Michael Myers thing they're taking from Halloween. You take from Evil Dead in this one with the book. Like you got a little bit of Nightmare in there. Like it's just a mishmash of the jealousy that the Friday the 13th film franchise was having at this point, I guess, where they're like, all these movies are successful around us. How do we do it?
What do we
Yeah,
need
let's shoot it like a Hellraiser as well. Let's change up how we make the movie look. Cool. We'll talk about that a bit more when we get to production talk. But let's go into some brief histories.
Are you talking about the brief history?
A brief history.
So in this segment, we basically break down our history with this movie. But Cody, I'll let you go first. And since you're here for the first time, I'd like to hear a little bit about your history with the Friday the 13th franchise as well.
Yeah, the Friday the 13th franchise. It's not a big one for me. It's very much like I'll tell you my favorite one is the was it Jason Takes Manhattan or whatever that one's called?
That's the last one, yeah.
Yeah, that one's probably my favorite that I've seen. I haven't seen all of them. I'd never seen this one before going into this. I was just kind of figuring out how I was going to watch this movie, and the my local video store where I buy all my Criterion Collection Blu-rays for myself, and did have a very like deluxe, like 4K, like almost like box set type thing for just this movie, like Jason Goes to Hell. And I was like, do I buy this? Is this how I watch this movie?
The best possible option.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't choose that $50 copy of this movie and instead went with the $4 rental online.
Smart.
Yeah, but Friday the 13th is kind of, I don't know, it's always felt like a little bit lesser than to me for the rest of them, not to get all the Jason Voorhees heads after me for this. I am a big horror guy. I like Freddy Krueger. I'm a big Chucky franchise guy. That's my bread and butter. That's my go-to.
Me too.
Jason is just kind of there, and I'm glad that I always felt like he just kind of wasn't in the first one, so I'm glad that there's another one that he's just pretty much not in.
Right
Yeah.
on.
I feel similarly. I do love the Friday the 13th franchise, but I think you're right when you say that, like, if you were to have to like put these to tier levels, it's like there is sort of a prestige element to a few of them that doesn't exist with the Friday the 13th franchise. Even within its own franchise, it disrespects itself constantly and thoroughly because it just doesn't seem to care about its own lore all the time. They'll go into a new one and be like, let's just pretend these ones didn't happen. And, you know, that eventually happens with some of the other franchises. But, you know, you mentioned Chucky, and that's the one that really sort of like steadfastly stayed to everything. And it's like, we're going to make sure that all of this sort of connects in some sort of continuity.
Oh my God, it's beautiful how like even the TV show wraps up everything. Like just having the same writer, Don Mancini, throughout them is just like unheard of for the
It's
horror.
unprecedented for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, this one for me, I marathoned all of these franchises a bunch of times when I was a kid, but this particular franchise, when I get to Jason Takes Manhattan, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really feeling the fatigue. Can I really go to hell right now? I don't know. And I usually would stop. So this is the one that I've probably watched the least out of all of the Jason movies. I want to say I've probably only seen it like 2 times before this. And even though I have seen it 2 times, I could not remember what was going to happen. I'm like, who's going to get Jasoned? Who's going to get the worm in him? And I couldn't remember. I forgot about the Necronomicon showing up from the Evil Dead. I forgot about the Kandorian dagger showing up at the end. I'm like, there's so much Evil Dead lore happening in here. They must have been convinced that Ash versus Jason versus Freddy was gonna happen.
Oh, I didn't even think of that was an option at that time.
They had that on the table, and even Sam Raimi was like, yeah, I mean, why not? But yeah, a lot of different stuff. This movie in particular, I mean, we'll get into it when we get to production talk, but Paramount used to own Jason, the character of Jason, and they were not making money. They didn't lose money on Manhattan, but they didn't make nearly as much money as they would have liked, because every other Jason movie, it's like they made 70 times the budget. They made 100 times the budget. And I think that Manhattan only made about 3 times the budget.
People were fools.
Yeah. And then this one made not great, but it still made its money back. It just didn't make a ton of its money back. But it was purchased by New Line Cinema, which is the same studio that owns Freddy Krueger. And so the plan was, we'll buy this, and then Sean Cunningham, I think his name is. Yeah, he's like the Jason man, but he also fucking hates his own franchise, which is crazy. Like he's been around forever, but he didn't really work on them. But he was always tangentially attached. But there's rumors that he's the reason that Jason doesn't even have the mask a lot of the time in this movie. He's like, I fucking hate that mask. How do we get rid of the mask? And like the director is like, but that's his character. Like the whole thing is the iconography of the mask. And he's like, get rid of it. Anyway, the last time I watched this must have been when I was a teenager. And yeah, watching it yesterday, I was like, does he get a silver mask in this? And it's like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't get a silver mask. The worm isn't really a worm. It's more like a weird, those like ghoulie puppets that have like little arms and can crawl around or whatever. It's more like one of those.
And it makes baby noises for some reason.
Because it's a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's part of this segment, but like I had an idea of what this movie was when I was a kid. Like I really thought that this would all take place in hell.
Yeah.
And I went through my entire adulthood and even leading up to this movie where I'm like, this is going to be like wacky, like crazy, like taking place in hell. It does not. It does not do. The only one in hell was me watching it.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, the end of New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, more closely takes place in some sort of hell than this does.
That ties into my like history of this movie too, because when I was a kid, I was 8 years old when this movie came out, but I remember all my friends that were allowed to watch horror movies were talking about it in the schoolyard kind of thing. And I had this idea that the worm element of this movie somehow was in the first movie, because some kid said like, yeah, the worm crawls out of Jason's mom and into Jason. And I just remember that so distinctly. Obviously that doesn't happen. That's just one of those like twisted memories from when
that kid was just making shit up.
Exactly.
He hadn't seen the movies. He was just saying stuff.
But I watched this movie about like last summer, because once we got to number 8, I just finished the rest of the series, and I had never seen them. So Cody, the viewer knows this, but I didn't get into horror until I was about 30, which is about 10 years ago.
Whoa.
I couldn't handle the idea of somebody taking an axe to the face because of like a weird empathy thing. I think like I really couldn't handle that buildup. And then I watched all of Walking Dead, and it just every episode just desensitized me week to week, to the point that now I'm just watching the most twisted stuff as much as possible. And by twisted, I mean Quiet Place. So it's not that twisted, but I digress. This movie in particular, I also built
PG-13.
I watched A Quiet Place 2 today, and I was scared of this when I was 15. What the hell is wrong with me? But I was slanging dick. No, don't say that out loud. Anyway, sorry. I did have the same exact impression in my mind that Jason gets. I had seen that opening bit where he gets blown up by the SWAT team, and I thought that the thing that happens at the end where the ground opens up and he goes down, I thought he goes down and then he's in hell and he's like fighting like Splatterhouse, the video game Splatterhouse. I thought that was based off of this movie in particular, based off when that game came out. Anyway, none of that is correct. This is just a movie about
this is the segment where Jason just half finishes his thoughts for 5 minutes straight.
It's true.
I remember, similar to you guys, I thought that this movie was the scariest movie ever made because the word hell was in the title.
Right?
I was like, oh my God, he goes to hell?
Your parents will also lead you to believe those things, right? Like your parents aren't gonna sit you down and put on a movie that has this cover art called Jason Goes to Hell, and my name is Jason. So,
oh my God,
yeah,
if you watch it, you will go to hell.
I did have a big Freddy versus Jason thing growing up, where like I remember specifically I had like the WWF magazine, and I was like flipping through the pages, and it had the ad for Freddy versus Jason, and then the commercials were playing for Freddy versus Jason, and I was having nightmares about it constantly. And then I did have a dream where I sold my soul to Freddy to protect me in my dreams going forward. And I stopped having dreams completely after that.
Oh my God.
To this day?
Entirely. Yeah. I've never had a dream since.
I really don't. So something happened that fateful night.
Yeah, I think you might be a dream master.
Yeah. I think
Dream warrior. Yeah.
I think I gave my soul to something.
Something pretending to be Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Famous trustworthy dream entity. Famous for his trust. Freddy
Yes.
Krueger.
Give me your soul, bitch.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
That's the biggest connection I have for this. And even back then as a kid, I knew that Freddy was the more powerful one. I needed him, not Jason.
Well,
Jason is a shambling corpse.
I guess we can go into production talk, even though I already kind of blew through all my talking points really quickly there. Whoopsies. Let's do it.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
Yeah, you did sort of cover all of it already. Like, there's the Freddy Krueger glove cameo at the end. There's the Evil Dead stuff that happens in the movie. A 23-year-old man, Adam Marcus, directed this movie, which is interesting. Put together a pretty good movie, probably straight out of film school.
He had one other movie he made, but it was taken away from him before production was complete by Disney and then rebranded, and they made it into sort of like a tween movie. It was something about marrying a zombie or some shit. I don't know. I've never seen it. But yeah, he didn't have any projects lined up, and he was friends with Sean Cunningham's son at the time, and they were all very close. And so he's like, all right, we're going to make a Jason movie. You can direct it. And so he does have that sort of like, it does have a youthful vibe to it. It feels a little MTV-ish. The lighting is a little bit more dynamic and kind of like typical for the era now, but you look back on it and you're like, oh, this is like early MTV style lighting going on in here. And just, it feels closer to like a dream sequence in Freddy Krueger a lot of the times than it does to anything else in the series. But that's just because it's a 23-year-old in 1993 making it.
I think
makes sense.
One of my favorite things about this movie is the special effect of the guy melting after the entity leaves his body. That felt very Hellraiser-ish to me. Yeah. And it was so graphic, but the rest of the movie doesn't really have much graphic stuff, except for weirdly when the woman at the diner, like I referred to her in my notes as Bertha because I didn't know what her name was. But she looked like that. I know I'm being rude, but she like gets elbowed in the face, and it cuts to like a prosthetic face or a puppet of just her chin knocked in, which was really bizarre.
I mean, the very first kill, really, the doctor killing his assistant or whatever, that's pretty gnarly. It's like the grated metal, and he presses really hard. It's like hamburger meat going through like a press or something. There's some nasty visuals in this. Yeah. I think when they go for it pretty hard in this movie. It's not pulling punches in terms of the level of gore. And but it is goofy, like it's goofy gore. There's reminiscent of like a Verhoeven movie or something like RoboCop. Even the intro with like the news broadcast felt like something out of RoboCop to me. I was like, this is very Verhoeven-esque.
Yeah, so like in this universe, they're just they're just talking about on the news that Jason is at large again. So like in this whole universe, like people know that he exists. When they go to Crystal Lake, it's like those kids are like, he's dead, we're gonna be fine. And then the whole scene they set up is that it's like decrepit and run down. But like, has Crystal Lake ever really looked pristine? So it was interesting to see like the sign hanging. There was a lot of that stuff going on, which was interesting. So it feels like it's a Jason movie within this larger universe it's trying to be created, which I thought was an interesting thing to try to convey. But unfortunately, I want to see Jason not in just mirrors or at the beginning and end.
Too bad.
Everyone, this did feel. I mean, I haven't seen all of them. There's a few that I've missed in this franchise, but in the ones I've seen, it's never really acknowledged that like people around the town and around the world know about Jason Voorhees.
Right. No, you're right.
It was interesting to kind of see that. I did have the moment during this movie too. You were talking about the melting guy and everything like that, the gore of it. I was hungry leading into this, so I had the moment of thinking, am I going to be grossed out if I eat something? Which I got a banh mi and watched it during this. And the melting part really grossed me out while I was eating a banh mi. I don't know what it was that was connected with it, but I really didn't like that. But I always think about like I remember so specifically watching My Bloody Valentine in 3D,
right?
And being at home eating a bowl of chili and being really grossed out while watching like brain splatter everywhere.
Like half the special effects are just chili. They're like pouring out of people.
It was a terrible mistake. So I kind of got the flashes back of that moment of my childhood of being grossed out of chili completely, and now being grossed out of banh mi's.
You're messed up on banh mi's.
Movies that they will absolutely kill your appetite. There's a lot of like the zombie franchise, like those Italian zombie movies. Like, oh man.
For me, it's like if I sit down to watch like The Boys, I'm like, I can't eat for The Boy. I can't eat for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia either, because I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't really have anything else in terms of production, and I'm sure we'll get more into that kind of weird stuff. Like the
only other thing I wanted to mention really was that Kane Hodder plays Jason in this, but is also in the movie, and he's like pretty bad at acting.
Well, he's not an actor; he's a stuntman.
Yeah, he's a stuntman.
So he's not in a lot of stuff.
It was like a nice nod, and also the fact that this movie, the tent kill was cut by the MPAA, and this movie actually was supposed to be NC-17 because they had a lot more of that gore in it. So there should be a version of this. I'm surprised they never. Well, I know why they never made a version of it, because it didn't make enough money to. But a director's cut of this would have been nice later in that version that you were talking about, Cody. That's like a box set.
It probably is in that.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be interesting to see the other.
I'll scope out the box and I'll comment on this video later.
Special features.
I'll check out the special features.
Excellent. I had a dream where Rocky Dennis from Mask chased me around and stabbed him in the face with a fork. That guy scared the shit out of me as a kid.
It is frightening.
It's a nightmare-looking character. But yeah, we can probably just get right into it.
The body of the episode, body to body to body to body of the episode.
Everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
Well, this is the section of the show where this is basically the podcast of it all. We're going to talk about the movie in agonizing detail and make sure that we leave no stone unturned. My first note is, okay, fuck, let's go. I actually regret watching this once already because I did watch it a year ago. But the opening sequence kind of feels like a classic Friday the 13th. We have a woman coming into... Is this supposed to be Crystal Lake? I think it is, right?
Yeah,
she's coming.
That's where Jason lives.
Yeah,
He wouldn't be other anyway. He's not some other lake.
She's experiencing sort of like a haunted area, and she does the classic, like, it's almost like a Ghostbusters cold open feel to it too, where it's like, you know, it's sort of going to happen, but all of the trappings of a Jason movie are kind of going on around her. The lights go out, she gets naked, she gets in the shower, and then
it's because these guys are agents and they know all his tricks.
Yeah.
So they're tricking Jason, which, you know, if you don't know it's coming, it's a nice whoa, what? But you know, knowing that it's coming, you're like, oh, this is like kind of cool. But then they never really have the government agency ever again, which is kind of strange. It's like, okay, wait, they have this SWAT team, militarized SWAT team with like special agents, because they call her like Agent Haddock or something weird like that. And they're like, good job, agent. She's like, thanks. I've been training for years for this one moment to almost get stabbed in the shower by a mutant. But she gets away. She does some cool you know, she flips over the hood of her car. She does like a somersault. She all in a towel, by the way.
The strongest towel of all time. That towel is set.
It's a government issued towel.
Yeah,
it's got a bungee, like a bulletproof bungee cord holding it together, and she gets thrown off the balcony. It's like all this stuff where it's like, oh, she's getting injured. All the classic Jason tropey stuff that you expect, and then, you know, they hit you with a million floodlights and so many people just blasting him with machine guns and throwing grenades at him. And I think they use a mortar. It's like it's implied that they airstrike him. And you're like, oh.
It was also interesting to see when she looks in the mirror, they set up like this jump scare that never happens. And I was kind of like the whole time.
They kind of did a bunch of those, like at the beginning, right? Like the door, everything. Like it was all the classic kind of like horror tropes. They played up on those, not actually happening. But the thing with this plan of theirs, terrible plan. Nobody was close to the scene to help her. Like she had to run so far to get to where the trap actually was. Like everything could have went wrong for that.
I assume they practiced it.
They just had a guy dressed up like Jason following.
They have like a warehouse in Area 51 that's like set up to look exactly like this one area of Crystal Lake, and they just practice it 100 times.
They practice her getting thrown off a ledge.
We're gonna need to practice the shower part again. She's like, what? We've just done it 5 times. Just do it. Oh my god.
This movie does have the running thing of the most unnecessary nudity. And the third one is like the most egregious one of all, which I guess we'll get to eventually, but just showing how someone grieves over their dead mother by them crying naked in the shower is insane.
We want to kill 2 birds with one set of tits over here, you know what I'm saying?
I think that one of the other things that really confused me about this too was, so it's government agents, but Creighton Duke is there.
Yeah.
Who is I guess like a for hire.
It seems like he's observing. Like he's not, they don't know he's there or something. Like it seems like he's far away or something, like in the woods hiding.
It gave the impression that he's the one running it.
Is what I got off the top. But then like he doesn't have any of the resources later, and it's like, so like to me it felt like he was almost like, you know, the hunter in the second Jurassic Park movie when he's like observing the T-Rex and shit from far away. Like he's just there scoping the lake because he's like, I gotta kill Jason Voorhees at some point. And I feel like he was like, oh, this is interesting. I'll watch this for a little while.
It's also strange because the movie makes you feel like you should know who this guy is. Like there was a previous movie with him in it or something, but you've never seen this guy before.
No, it also does the same thing with like the fact Jason's sister or whatever.
Yeah. They really do a lot of lore expansion in this movie, and you're like, wait, what?
But it's like, you should know this. Like, the movie keeps telling you, why
don't you know Jason Voorhees' dad's name? You're like, he has a dad? I thought he was like Anakin Skywalker. Like, he just got summoned from hell.
Yeah, you can't introduce this lore and expect me to know it when the first movie is mainly them playing Monopoly.
And yeah, and you know, like I've seen these movies so many times, like all of them, and even I was questioning myself, being like, "Are these characters mentioned before?" I'm like, "No, Steven, you know they haven't been. Why are you even asking this to yourself?" I'm like, "I know, but the movie's making me feel like I should know, and I feel dumb." Not a great start, guys. We can't have a movie making you feel dumb, and it's a dumb movie. A dumb movie making you feel dumb? That's dumb.
Tally from South Park is also mutated government created towel crossover.
Yeah, that's what the towel
Your
was on her. It was a sentient towel.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I can tell you what Creighton Duke makes me feel like, or makes me think. It makes me think of a little girl in a pink dress sticking a hot dog through a donut. That's what Creighton Duke makes me think.
Yeah, that's what it makes me think of.
Why is his dialogue so fucking weird? Why does he break that guy's fingers so much? We'll talk about that in a minute.
The finger breaking thing is like one of those things where if you think about it, you're like, okay, I understand this, but it's still fucking weird. Like it's not a normal thing to do.
Everything he does doesn't make sense, and everything that happens to him doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and everything he knows makes no sense that he knows it. There's no reason for him to know any of this information.
He knows more information than we know, and we've watched all the movies.
Yeah. He hasn't even seen the movies.
Yeah, he hasn't seen those.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got those.
I don't know how he got them either. Maybe he's an interdimensional traveler.
This is a sequel to a movie that doesn't exist, is sort of what my brain kept saying to me the whole time I'm watching it.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. This is a sequel to a movie that exists in another dimension. It exists in hell only.
maybe that's the hell in the titular.
Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell. But we go over to the morgue. This whole sequence is pretty great. They bring Jason in chunky parts. His heart is still, we see it beat for the last time, but as soon as they get into the morgue, basically, there's the credits happening over all of this as well for a minute. And I wrote Bag of Jason Parts, my nickname in high school.
Ew.
I don't know. Yeah. And the score for all of this, for the whole movie, is basically the same sort of refrain, but it's so weird and synthy.
Yeah, it feels like a budget
frantic.
Score.
Yeah.
I thought the score in the last one was lazy, but this one is yeesh. This is like they got the same guy who does Murder, She Wrote, and you know, like the Are You Afraid of the Dark television show. It was not spooky, that's for sure. The best music in this movie is at the beginning of the movie when they're using score from previous films. And they're not actually creating anything new. It's disappointing because I do like the music in most of the Jason Voorhees music because it's so like it's intense and it's all over the place and it sets a certain vibe, and that the absence of that or the replacement of that with the synth stuff is just disappointing to me as a Jason fan.
I think the music in the first one was Wes Craven, right? Or like Wes Craven was the responsible for getting that music in the first one.
I don't know.
I watched the movies that made us, I think.
Okay,
and basically, I think the story, I could be completely wrong, and someone can correct me if I am. But it was that Wes Craven got shown the movie for Friday the 13th, and basically was, you don't actually have a movie on your hands. Like, this isn't scary at all.
Yeah, you need music.
And then he either made the music or he found someone to make the music for it, and that's kind of what makes the fear in the entire movie, is just the music saves that movie.
Yeah, and this the Jason sound effect that is in all movies that is also sort of absent from this movie quite a bit, which it doesn't need to be, because I never in the movies I never think that Jason is making that noise. I always think that's supposed to be a noise inside of his head, so it would still make sense for it to be in this movie, and it isn't really. There's like a version of it, but it's different, but it's not, you know. This movie is one of those things where you're like, this isn't a Jason movie. It's not that terrible of a movie in terms of just like a weird slasher, a body hopping, swapping slasher movie, but as a Jason Voorhees movie, it feels like it really just lost its own identity, and you're like, okay, well, why? Because there's a lot of movies that the Hellraiser franchise is really guilty of this, where they'll just take another existing script and just ham fist Hellraiser into it in order to have a name attached to it so it'll get more seats filled. And that's what this feels like, even though the intent behind this movie was not that. They wanted to make a Jason movie, but all of the things that were liked about Jason were the things that were like, we got to get rid of this and we got to get rid of that and we got to go into like spooky lore stuff. And it's just like, oh, you're going in the wrong direction. You've forgotten what people like about this.
Yeah, Hellraiser is brutal for it. There's one of the ones like Doug Bradley only shows up in puddles. Like they literally made a whole movie and they were like, it's also Hellraiser, so we'll just have Doug Bradley as Pinhead just show up in like water sources and puddles and mirrors and stuff. And I agree with you, like this feels a little bit like that, but the fact that the stuff, it only happens for like a second. And it used in the same way as the other Friday the 13th movies where it's to indicate that Jason is around. But if you only do it for like a second, you can't build that tension of Jason skulking. And then it cuts to somebody in the bushes and it's this mortician, Phil, the guy from I guess the Rocky. No, that's Duke. Anyway, this actor that's been in a million things. And this sequence has him basically taunting the corpse, or his lab partner taunting the corpse. He's being a little bit respectful, but he is doing that thing, that trope of drinking while, working on a body in a morgue, which I always think is hilarious.
I mean, it's not as hilarious as eating a sandwich or something. Like just drinking a soda is not like, the trope is usually like they're eating a hard-boiled egg or they're eating like a really mayonnaise filled sandwich or like something that like you should be grossed out to eat because you're digging through a corpse. But just drinking a soda, it's like you've even fucked up the trope at this point, movie.
Yeah.
You should be eating something that smells weird or is really greasy and gross. And like it's supposed to show how desensitized they are to the corpses that they're shoving their arm up to the elbow inside of. But no, he's just drinking a diet soda or whatever, Disappointing movie. Disappointing. You don't know what you're doing to me.
He indicates that there's various calibers of various bullets strewn among the wreckage of Jason, which I thought was great. Because you're right, in that opening scene, it seems like they airstruck him. That was another thing growing up.
It's my favorite AC/DC song. Airstruck.
Airstruck. That was another thing growing up. I thought that scene where he just gets completely nuked from orbit, I thought that was in the one where he actually just gets electrocuted. And so I, up until actually watching them all the way through, this movie I just thought was all of them. And then he goes to hell and fights a bunch of demons.
Again, like last week, where your memory has turned into a kaleidoscope of all the movies. But this franchise in particular, I have that happen a lot too. There's a scene at the beginning of Jason X that I thought was the beginning of this movie, but I'm like, oh, they're slightly similar because it's another government facility type thing. But yeah,
it feels like, especially because the next one is just Jason in space, so it's like, oh, okay, we're putting Jason in these like crazy scenarios now. So like the movie that would have been amazing to see is just Jason going to hell.
Yeah. What would he do down there? Would people like him?
I think that he would have to be the hero in hell.
Wouldn't he be celebrated in hell?
Yeah, that would be like his Saw 10, right? Where just all of a sudden Jigsaw's now the hero. So we get Jason. Yeah, everyone, we love Jason. We're cheering for Jason, and he's going after the big bads in hell.
And it's just Lucifer, who's just he's reaching beyond his reach in hell, and Jason has to go down there and
teams up with Pinhead and Freddy, and they all have to go fight the devil together.
Oh, in a perfect world, we get all of the horror legends that we've mentioned in one movie.
Dembala's down there. Like how Chucky prays to Dembala through his amulet. Yeah. Freddy has to do the whole. Because Chucky is literally a body swap figure, right? That's his whole deal is body swaps.
Yeah.
And it's like they're doing that in this, but it's not as. That's one of the best parts of Chucky is when he has to put his hand on your chest and pray to the sky and create a crazy matte painting lightning storm behind him, speaking French. And you're like, this is great. This is amazing. In this movie, he just has a weird rubber snake that comes out of his mouth and then he has to make out with you. Not as cool.
Yeah. And at the beginning of this movie too, they do imply that like the black viscous liquid that he's filled with has something to do with it as well before the snake comes out. But basically, I guess, Phil, the mortician, gets possessed like he's found the ring from Lord of the Rings. And I think it's because he gets a little bit of that liquid on him from digging through this corpse. And then he just takes a giant bite of this disgusting putrid heart. And then we see Ghostbuster style special effects of these little like spirits entering him, I think. Pew, 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 pew. And right before that, the heart does start to beat again, though.
Yeah. This is another thing where I'm like, I know he's going to eat the heart already, and I wish I could remove that from my brain knowledge, because I want to know what I would feel when he's just like staring at it, and then he all of a sudden grabs it and eats it. Like, would I be shocked? I don't know. I can't say because I can't Men in Black my memories. But how did you guys feel?
I had no idea what was going on. I still don't know. Like, those lights are like the souls that Jason's taken? Or is that the kind of deal, I guess?
I think it's just him. I think it's just his essence is being transferred from one body to the other, which you'd think would be fine if you just eat the heart. That would happen.
So that's all of Jason's chakras coming into you.
Exactly. Yeah. You're getting shocked by the chakras.
Yeah.
Rewrite. Imagine we had a moment or someone asked Duke, who hired him to kill Jason. We reveal at the end it was Freddy Krueger all along. Sounds dumb, but they could have done something like that. It would be interesting to have Duke being like scouting Jason, and that would tie in with the next movie a little bit better too, because the next movie is, well, it's not, because that comes after Jason X, right?
What movie are you talking about?
Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, that's after.
But Jason X is like takes place in the future, so
that's true.
Do you think that Duke was originally Ash? Is that why we're supposed to know him?
Oh,
do you think that was a rewrite when they couldn't get Bruce?
I mean, makes me think of putting a little girl in a pink dress putting a hot dog through a donut hole. Does sound more like something Ash would say than this random man that we've never met before.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering if that was, because that makes the most sense to us. That way we're like, oh, that's who we know, this person. That's why the movie's telling us you know that person, even though it didn't work out that way. And then you would have like the Necronomicon like things throughout it and everything like that, and then Freddy tease at the end. So I don't know.
I have the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comic book, like the collection of them, and I think it's based on sort of like loosely based on the first script adaptation that they had for that story. But this was, I think, meant to be their foot in the door for that. So I think it's very possible that like there's a version of this where they're like, yeah, this is going to be Ash if we can pull it off. And you can tell that this guy who was making this definitely likes Evil Dead more than he likes Friday the 13th, because he was trying to make this into sort of a Deadite style story, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even just like having the Necronomicon in it for a second is very strange. Why does that exist in the Voorhees house? I think that this is supposed to be some sort of connection to whatever the doctor's name is from Evil Dead, the doctor's cabin.
Because Creighton Duke is the one that knows about the knife too that goes in.
Yeah.
So it had to have been Ash. There's no way that this wasn't supposed to be Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
It's the only way that anything makes sense.
That's an official theory right here on Hey, Did You See This One?
Oh my God, a theory.
It's official.
It's official. I won't be told otherwise either. I don't care if someone fact checks me and says I'm wrong. I won't believe it.
Are you gonna
Theories.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. It's locked in. The other scientist comes in. He taunts the corpse. He's talking shit. You never talk shit about Jason to Jason, but he doesn't know that Phil has become Jason, and he gets hamburger skewered through a table, which was very disgusting as well.
Yeah, he wanted to take a big dump on Jason's mask.
Yeah, he was saying his chirping of this corpse, it was not great. I was like, oh man, this guy's trying his hardest, but I guess he's just a dweeb who's not used to talking his mind to a corpse. But I mean, this is also now expanding it into the realm that like everybody really does know who Jason Voorhees is. Because as we were saying before, it was always like the only person that knows about Jason Voorhees is the crazy old man who lives around the lake. And then like people have heard stories about the legendary figure of Jason Voorhees, but it's always nothing more than that. Whereas in this movie, it's like Jason Voorhees, he's finally been captured in a bag of garbage because he got blown the fuck up by the government. And now they're doing tests on his body parts. And then it cuts to a news broadcast being like, the lab holding Jason Voorhees, famous serial killer, has disappeared, and all these people are dead. Is it a copycat killer? Probably. And then it just cuts to this. Yeah,
son of Pamela and Elias Voorhees. I like that they're taunting him. It's like the two like security guards are taunting him as he walks out. And then when it cuts to that news broadcast, it just shows them dead, which you don't see on the news. You don't just see two guys like maimed like that.
It also says Jason Voorhees dead. And then it cuts to Kane Hodder's face with like a hole in it. I'm like, yeah, that is Jason Voorhees dead. Look at that. They did it.
There you go. Did Dan Harmon write that?
The other mortician too. That guy, to me, it could have just been me, but he looked exactly like our hero. They might have been the same person to me.
That's actually one of the writers, the guy who gets hamburgered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did like punch-ups. I think the story is that like he came in to do rewrites on this script because it was just a bag of ideas. Basically, they didn't have an actual proper story structure or anything. It was just like literally like a bag of ideas, and they're like, we can't film this, and it's like, and we got to start shooting next week. So they got this guy. His name's like Laurie David or something, I think.
Yeah, I had just had to pull it. Dean Laurie,
and Sean Cummings took him and locked him in a hotel like together, and they stayed in the hotel for 4 days, and he wouldn't let him leave until the script was done. He's like, you're not leaving until the script is done. And I'm like, it sounds kind of fucked up, but at the same time, like he then went on to be in the movie, so it couldn't have been that bad, you know. He would have been like, just give me my paycheck and let me go home, not put me in the movie. Maybe that was the deal. I want to be in the movie though. I have to be this guy who gets hamburgered at the beginning. And also Leslie Jordan has to be in it. Those are my two demands.
Travis feels the same way.
Yeah.
Look at that.
The movie doesn't really make it clear who the main characters are until a decent chunk through.
I mean, they're just both white guys with glasses. So like, I don't know.
Very confusing to have two of those.
That's true. They all look the same.
Yeah.
But one of them died pretty horribly.
Confused by this podcast right now that you both have glasses.
Yeah. We're going to get that person that comes in here sometimes and says, it's like 3 stages of a person growing a beard. And you know what? This week, accurate.
Well, if Jason takes his glasses off, I'll be confused.
Yeah. But yeah, we hear from Creighton Duke, the bounty hunter. They give him his own like 60-minute style interview during this broadcast for some reason. And he's a straight up cowboy, which what is happening? And he implies that Jason Voorhees is a thing that wears other people's bodies. So that means Jason hasn't been the same the whole time in the whole franchise, I guess. Is that the implication here?
I feel like this guy is just making shit up.
Yeah.
Like, and he just happens to be right. You know, like he's like, I'm just throwing dartboards at a bikini bottom here and seeing what sticks. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to talk more about hot dogs and donuts. You guys mind if I just ramble about that for a while?
Also, give me $500,000 to hunt him, and nobody agrees to that. But he's
and then also, I'm going to directly quote Jaws. Is that all right? Can we allow to do that on the news? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie does the best job of making characters feel likable in the entire series. Steven's pretty shaky at first, but there's some interesting characters in this for sure.
I liked Leslie Jordan.
Yeah.
I think the $500,000 is taken up on. The news reporter does it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So someone does agree to the sum. But my big question here, so let's say that Creighton Duke wasn't a part of that strike on Jason, that he was just watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's also on TV talking about it. Like he's like an expert of Jason Voorhees. He's someone that everyone knows. He's almost a celebrity at this point.
Yeah.
And he goes into the restaurant. They know who he is at the restaurant, and yet, or diner, and yet seemingly he gets arrested for just being annoying.
Yeah.
Talking shit.
Being kind of a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, being kind of he gets arrested for being a dick, and he's put in jail for days.
You're gonna rot in jail for this. You
Yeah.
got in the face of the police chief for like a second and asked to leave politely. That diner also, the most disgusting thing I've ever seen is them trying to capitalize on the fact that Jason is at large again. So they make hamburgers that look like hockey masks and call the French fries.
They're capitalizing on his death.
On his death, yeah.
Or yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they
but
don't
still.
know that he's still out there. They think he's dead. And then they say, I mean, brilliant business strategy. Leslie Jordan was right. She was nailing it. You take the pieces of meat out for the eyeballs and you get a whole nother burger patty.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Great business model. I'd like to invest in their diner.
I think it went under after they all got murdered.
Oh,
Yeah. Leslie Jordan playing
It's a
like
Burger King now.
Leslie Jordan playing a hard heterosexual man with a beautiful wife was an interesting touch to this movie because, of course, he is a iconic gay figure. I thought it was interesting to see him back then when, you know, he was probably taking roles like this all the time. And then also, is that the joke or did nobody know at the time? Because it's not really given.
Pretty sure everyone knew Jason.
I don't think that was the joke though. Like I mean, like he was just kind of like the very like supportive, like just very.
Yeah. I think the joke was also
Peppy.
that like she is physically very large and he is physically very small. Like it's like a fairy tale sort of thing. It's like
it reminded me of something out of an Ernest movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, why did they also bite the Ernest thing of having like these wacky characters? They reminded me of the when Ernest goes to camp, there's those two like cooks that are two characters from like every Ernest movie.
Yeah,
the two people that own the diner reminded me of them. I have a question here from Travis that I think we could take a slight detour to answer. What is the best kill in the movie for each of you? And I'll go first. For me, it is the weird elbow to the face, and then her face turns into a puppet suddenly. Maybe not the best kill, but the most like I was the most fascinated by.
Yeah, that one was fascinating. I think that I would go the melt. I guess that's not really a kill. He's technically dead, I guess, at that point. But the melting of the body was kind of like the cool. That was the moment where I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Like, this is a cool, like, kind of practical thing. I would say that. But no, I'm going the Jason's kill at the start. Jason just getting gunned down by everybody and just overkill of them just like shooting him to pieces. Insane. That was the best.
That was gonna be mine too, because like it goes on for so long, and as soon as you're like, okay, that's probably enough, right? People start dropping from the trees, and they're like shooting on the way down. They don't even wait to get to the bottom. They're like shooting as they're falling, and then the icing on the cake being that they then just explode his whole body, and he's still not dead. His heart is still beating after that.
Yeah, how do you do all of that and you don't shoot his heart and head? That was
stomp his heart. Yeah,
those were intact.
It like flies out of his body too.
Yeah, he's hard to kill.
Also, when Jason sees himself in the mirror, he sees himself as like this drowned figure, not like him as a kid or anything like that. Like he sees himself as his gross self.
Yeah, but so does everyone else seemingly, or at least people who are related to Jason. I don't know if you ever see like another person that. Oh wait, no, because Steven says that he sees it later. He's like, I saw his reflection and he was all gooey and gross. And it was him. Yeah. So everyone can see it. So apparently within the realm of Jason, mirror magic exists as well.
Odd.
Yeah. Very weird and unexplained.
The other very earnest like character is their son as well, who I assume that's their son. Like he's like the dishwasher.
Yeah. He calls her mama a couple times. So
yeah, that was also a very odd character that was just kind of put upon us out of nowhere. Like very like late in the movie too.
I mean, these types of characters have shown up in Jason movies in the past. It's not like the first time that because remember in I think it's the fourth one, or is it the fifth one? I don't know. It's when they're all in the halfway house or whatever.
Yeah, the like bully character.
There's like the lady who's like, "You're fucking crazy kids, better stay on my goddamn property." And then she also calls her son. She's like, "Whatever you do, what are you doing over there, you dildo? Come eat your dinner, you dildo." She keeps calling her son a dildo, and that's the funniest shit. But yeah, they're very like cartoonish characters as well. But they don't appear in every Jason movie. Just every once in a while they'll be like, we need some real hard cartoon characters to show up for this one, please and thank you.
This guy also has just like he's friends with Steven, I guess. Like he just helps him when everyone else is trying to
I guess it's just like that small town mentality, right? Like they're probably similar age. They probably have known each other since they're kids or something, because it seems like everybody in this town knows each other because it's the small country where everyone knows one another.
I guess so.
And I don't even know what that cop's name is. Does he have one? Who knows?
The Duke tries to warn Diana that Jason is coming while he's being basically arrested. And then there's the thing where Diana is told to go to her house at 11 involving Jessica. And then it just cuts to Steven. And then we get the whole sequence of just like, it just becomes a Jason movie without Jason for 20 minutes. The music that Steven is listening to in the car is hilarious, just like nondescript 80s rock. He picks up some hitchhikers, and these teens are headed to Crystal Lake.
No, he's listening to Airstruck by
AC/DC.
Yeah.
By Airborne, a band that wouldn't come along for 40 years. He asks if they're going to have sex and smoke weed and get murdered. And they're like, well, we're not going to get murdered because Jason is dead. And
it is a weird thing to say to somebody and very off-putting if you're picking up hitchhikers, because they would immediately be like, what are you, insane? But then they also know exactly what he's talking about. Like he's like, I'm just kidding. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, we're going to do all that shit, but we're also not going to get murdered because Jason's dead. Party, first night is death. We must go to the camp tomorrow and have an orgy.
Yeah.
Seems like that was the idea. They're all getting naked in front of each other like it's no big deal.
Yeah,
it's true. And they invite Steven to come along. And the one girl is like, I'm going skinny dipping, which is a classic Friday the 13th.
Yeah, they'd met for a total of like 3 minutes, and he was off-putting in his first line. I just really gives us all hope.
Yeah, if only it were that easy when I was 20 to just be a complete disgusting nightmare.
I mean, he looks pretty well put together. He's got nice skin. He's got a good haircut. He's not got a fucking ragged mat on his face. He doesn't look like a psycho murderer. He's wearing nice clothes.
Kind of looks like Egon Spengler if he wasn't a nerd, but a different kind of nerd, maybe.
Yeah.
So they skinny dip. They come back from skinny dipping. They're warming up around the fire. The couple's like, can we use the tent to go do stuff in there? And the one girl's like, I'm going to sleep outside. And then she decides to go into the woods on her own. And then we see Phil as Jason sort of skulking around. And then she gets got.
Yeah. And then also this movie apparently thinks that when women go pee, it's like a water balloon exploding or something. Because they just like they squat over for 2 seconds. You hear like they stand back up. And it happens also, like, twice, 2 times.
Yeah,
it happens.
You're right. But like, don't like, even if you knew Jason existed in reality and now you think that he's dead forever, don't go into the woods by yourself. Like, have some sense of self-preservation at all, a little bit, maybe. I know that doesn't work in the context of a horror movie, but I'm thinking about this.
You telling me you've never gone into the woods to pee by yourself, Jason?
Oh, I've done it lots.
Yeah,
and I
so
think
if
about
you were in a horror
Jason,
movie, you'd be dead. Just so
yeah,
you
I'd be fucked.
by your logic.
This last year at camping, we had this little like you could go out the back of the campsite onto a beach, and every time I left the campfire to go out the back, I was like, I'm gonna get destroyed by every single horror monster in existence out here with my wiener out too, which is especially embarrassing.
No, horror movies wait for you to put your wiener away.
Yeah, that's why I like Steven. He's a douche, and the door's open for him to have fun. But at his heart, he wants to make things right as his dad and his boyfriend. Which, like, I don't know if does this movie telegraph that he's Jessica's boyfriend at this point, or does it cut to a guy?
It's telling. Yeah, I think the movie like tells you that she's seeing somebody else, and that's his kid. But he's never met the kid yet, because when he gets to the diner and the kid's there, he's like, "Oh, I haven't met." He says he hasn't met the kid yet.
Yeah, he's never seen her. It's the first time he's met the child before. I believe he left her, and I assume while she was pregnant, and then she left with the baby, and then he came back to the town or whatever. I don't know. There's not really a lot of details. I'm assuming he left her because of the pregnancy, but we don't know. And we'll never know because the movie doesn't want to tell us.
No, all I know is when the other two go into the tent to bang, the guy calls himself Tony the Wonder Llama. And then I asked, why do people love this movie so much?
Mm-hmm.
Tony the one, is that a reference to something, or is that just? Well, okay.
I don't know, man. You're asking us like we would know. It's even if it is, it's not great. It's not a funny thing. It's not funny. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe that was a Dean Laurie punch up. People are like, "You're a genius, Dean."
I have to watch it again, but I got the impression she broke it off with him because she thought he was too immature to be a dad. And I think as the movie goes on, you sort of gather that. But when I was watching this,
there is a moment in the car where he says, "I'm not going to leave you again."
Oh, okay.
He left her.
Okay.
I gave up on trying to figure out.
I was still trying to piece together, is he the dad? What's going on here? And then that happens. I'm like, okay, so he left her for probably because she was pregnant, but also maybe he cheated on her. We don't know for sure, and the movie doesn't make it clear, but it is clear that he left her, and he's trying to make up for that fact for the rest of the movie that he left her.
I think every character in this, how they relate to each other, is completely up to interpretation.
Sure. Are they mother and daughter?
Yeah.
You know, coin toss, who knows?
They look the same age.
Yeah, Steven left her. His best friends are that dishwasher and the police officer.
Yeah.
They all have poker nights together or something.
Yeah.
The other girl threatens condom, goes to pee. That's the water balloon thing you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He goes back in. A condom, I hate these things. I guess he gets around it because it's insinuated they have sex. Jason watches like a creep.
He throws it out of the tent.
And then
steps on
they
it.
decide not to use it. They don't need protection.
Yeah. That's why they get murdered, according to the laws of Jason. Safe sex, you don't die.
Their friend got murdered for no good reason. She didn't do any of the Jason rules wrong.
She peed in a spot you shouldn't pee.
Oh, in the sacred tree. She put on the sacred tree.
That's where Jason's mom's head is buried.
Yeah, that was the site of that old shack where he had the shrine to the head.
Yeah.
And the sweater. But yeah, there's also the kill here where he Jason, as Phil uses, he finds I don't even know what it was. It looked like an axe, but like some sort of anchor to anchor a tent down. I don't know what it was, but he just stabs.
Oh yeah, I thought it was just like a tent spike thing, but like a big one.
Yeah, it was huge. And that's the end of those. That's the end of our little foray into Crystal Lake for now. We see Diana leave work. It's real spooky. Or no, she's not leaving work, as it turns out. She's going to get ice. Sorry. When she left, I just made an assumption.
You know what would have made this so much cooler, in my opinion? Because this guy does not, like, when Jason's in the body, he does not seem at all concerned about being able to walk around. He's not using the face to his advantage in any way. It's just sort of the happenstance makes it useful because people are like, oh, this guy looks fucked up. But nobody is like worried about it because it's just a normal guy. But if he peeled the face off of the head, if he peeled the mask off the head and was wearing like a gunky mask and he just kept putting it on, like that would be kind of cool.
That would have been better,
you know?
I think.
Yeah, because they're shedding a piece of iconography that's so important to the character. And I like the fact that there's this medical examiner walking around in the woods murdering teenagers. But it would be so much cooler if it was a medical examiner wearing a Jason mask, you know, and like he would have the costume and skin changes, but then he would still put the cracked up nasty mask on after.
There's a couple movies where he literally, like in the last movie, he finds a Jason mask and puts it on because he's like, I need my mask. So that I was thinking that too. Like, why not just find
because
a
Sean
mask?
Cunningham hates the mask. That's why
it's
not in the movie. Yeah,
but
right.
It would also, I think it would be too easy to solve. Like there would be the problem of them not knowing who's Jason. If he had the mask on all the time, then that whole thing during the movie where they're like, is this Jason? Is this Jason? Is this Jason? Or like, I don't believe you that he's Jason. If he had the mask on, then it would be like, oh, yeah, you're right. That's probably Jason.
But they could still do that because then there could be a moment where he doesn't put the mask on, and then you can use that as an actual moment of tension. Rather than, you know, and the other thing is that they don't do that throughout the movie because throughout the movie he just shows up and then he starts fucking with you and then he leaves, right. You know. So I just think in terms of like what I like about Jason Voorhees is missing here, and a lot of what I like about Jason Voorhees is that he wears a hockey mask, right? And like even the movies where he doesn't have the hockey mask, I'm always a little bit like, I wish he didn't have that fucking potato sack on his head. I wish he had a Jason mask on.
Yeah. Do you think that? I think the moment that I think about the most throughout like the entire franchise is the remake. Like I think that might be actually my favorite one is like the 2009 remake or whatever.
It's good,
like,
yeah.
The guy giving him like the hockey stick or whatever when he sees him wearing the mask.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually the one I haven't seen yet, but I know Steve, you always bring that up as like a good remake compared to like the other remakes. They're mostly dog shit. Like I have seen the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
That's really bad. Yeah,
sucks
really
so hard, dude.
Well,
like
the issue with the other ones is that the characters of like Chucky and Freddy are so integral to the actors that play them that replacing them is really, you're never gonna be in an easy spot there. Whereas Jason, you can put anybody in that hockey mask and it still works. You just have to have the creative kills, the location of Crystal Lake, and you know a bunch of horny teenagers doing inappropriate shit because their parents aren't around. Ooh, let's do drugs and fuck. Yeah, that's all you really need. That's the formula, and it works. And that's why this movie doesn't really work in a lot of ways, is because they're like abandoning almost entirely the formula of Jason. Yeah. But yeah, those other ones they're not great. But that 2009 one, we're gonna do it on the show eventually. I'm excited to talk about it because it's been a while since I've watched it, but it does feel like an updated version to the franchise.
Yeah,
it's
good. I think it's legitimately the best one to me, and yeah, like you said, with Robert Englund, like way too iconic of a voice and like performance, and like Brad Dourif too. Like what's Chucky without Brad Dourif?
Yeah,
even Aubrey Plaza can't save that.
Even Mark Hamill can't.
Yeah,
because Mark Hamill did Chucky's voice.
Yeah,
and I didn't hate that movie, but then when you look at a movie like Megan that almost does a remake of Chucky better than the remake of Chucky, just you gotta add something to it. Don't just do a retread. But yeah, so anyway, Diana is she's going to get ice. She pets a dog.
I'm just like, you just said something that made me like, it's not even a retread. The issue with the Chucky is that like it's nothing like it. It's just a doll that like it's a computer program that goes crazy. Whereas like Chucky has to have fucking zombie magic and fucking amulets and pray to Damballa. and he's got to be a serial killer gets put into a doll. All of that stuff is very important to Chucky. They got rid of all of it.
But she is being stalked at this point by Phil as Jason, and the police officer shows up and scares the shit out of her. We get a bit of a jump scare there, and he tells her that that Ed's going to come around, and that ends up being like that's the police chief guy. Then there's that moment at the end of the sequence where that police officer who freaked her out, his like mistress shows up. She's like, we only have a certain amount of time that we can go and do our thing. And then Jason comes out and slams her head in a door. I guess she's dead.
I forgot about that kill. That's a pretty good one because it's so jarring. You're like, holy fuck. He just snapped
shows
her
it
neck.
for a split second, but then the next scene is the weirdest thing ever. Just a naked a naked middle-aged man tied up with leather while Jason is like sharpening a razor to just shave his mustache off, because for some reason in this world Jason needs to have a clean face to go into this man's body,
which is not true because the other doctor had a mustache.
Exactly.
He's literally standing there with one.
What was the scene? It was so bizarre.
I don't know.
That was very confusing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they probably were just like, we need to make this weird. It needs to be uncomfortable and strange, and we need to have some layer of tension. So
mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they succeeded, but it doesn't make any fucking sense as to why he needs to cut his mustache off. It'd be funny if all the other characters are like, "Oh, Ed, what happened to your mustache?" Like every time they see him.
And then he glops his glue into his mouth, and that's where we see the snake worm for the first time, right into his mouth. So over to Diana again. She gets home, the phone's ringing. Jessica's calling her saying that they're going to come visit in a week, and police Jason just has teleported across the whole map. He just shows up in the house and he arrives. He grabs Diana.
We all know Jason can teleport.
It's true. And she sees him in the reflection. So we get to see Jason as Jason again for the first time in, it's been 40 minutes? Just in a reflection in the mirror. And then she manages to like struggle and get a gun and shoot him in the head, which was a pretty intense little scene.
Which also goes against what they say like later, where it's like when the bodies are destroyed, he needs a new host, and it's like, okay, so what constitutes destruction? She just destroyed his brain. He doesn't need the brain, I guess. I don't know. The movie is like, it's trying to put forward all these rules, but then it doesn't follow the rules, and it breaks the rules constantly, and then it introduces things that have no rules attached to them, and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking or feeling, and like nothing really matters. So like I'm kind of getting annoyed, but it's mostly just stuff like that, like the reflection thing.
Yeah.
Why is he wearing his clothes that he would wear? Like, why is he wearing the mat? Like, why does he look the same? What, like you said, why doesn't he see himself as a little kid? Because that's how we always think that he views himself. And like other movies do it really well, like Freddy versus Jason. When Freddy is frightening him, he turns into like a little boy, like the last time he had any kind of humanity in him or whatever. Well, this movie is just like, no, it'll be crazy if he's in the mirror.
Even at the end of Jason Takes Manhattan, he just reverts to a little kid as well, right? Yeah.
When he's scared, he turns into a little boy.
I think this is a good point. There's lots of weird scenes where you could make your own headcanon as to what's happening, and the shaving scene is not one of them. That's pretty like BDSM coded moment. What is
that part reminded me a lot of something you would see in like a Hellraiser movie for sure.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it's like this weird psychosexual thing happening here where you're like, why does it feel horny but also scary at the same time?
And maybe the first time that Jason's ever just kidnapped someone.
Yeah.
Usually it's an instant kill, but he knocked this guy out. I think this is the first time he's just knocked somebody out and taken them to another location.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
It also kind of happens at the end when he's fighting Steven and just doesn't, he has multiple opportunities to just like end his life, but he's just like fighting him for a while.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah, so you're right. He's still alive. There's blood glooping out of his head. And Steve shows up as Jason is about to do the snake move to Diana. And then he throws a knife sharpener through Diana as she sees herself in the mirror. And as he sees himself, Jason, in the mirror, is distracted. And then Steven stabs him with a poker. And then we get a classic Friday the 13th trope here where he gets thrown through a window. Now, I think every Friday the 13th movie has somebody flying through a window, which is we always laugh about. This movie has it 2 different times, and I love it. But this time it is Jason going through the window. And after Steve checks on Diane on the ground, she's like, we got to save Jessica. And then she dies. And when the police show up to be like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is there blood everywhere? Steven is like, oh, he flew out the window. It's fine. He's just right there and he's not there. So that's like a Halloween moment.
I shot him 6 times.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 days. So Jessica shows up.
They
in
arrest
prison.
Steven for the murder of Jessica's mom.
Yeah.
And they throw his ass in jail, even though he's
Throws
like, I
it.
swear it wasn't me. You're
It's
covered in
also
blood.
weird. We hadn't seen Jessica at this point, right? We've only seen her mom.
Well, she's on
We
the
saw her
phone.
out there. Yeah, it's revealed that she's dating the newsman because he's in the background or whatever while they're talking on the phone.
Right.
But the mom is still like, you should talk to Steven. He really, he wants to get back together with you, and it's his baby. And blah,
How did she
blah,
meet this newsman too? That's like seemingly doing national news.
The implication that I picked up on is that he found her. He deliberately
yeah.
located her and started dating her because he knew that it would be able to get him deep into the story of.
Yeah, he's also a
Right.
bit of a Maury Povich type because later he's like, we're gonna
More
dress
like a
this
Maury
place up.
perv itch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There we
Is he the
go.
one? It's because all white people look the same. Is he the guy on the news for the news
He is,
broadcast at
yes.
the beginning? Okay.
Yeah.
I look.
There's some similar looking people in this movie. That
But
Yeah.
he's doing a special on Jason Voorhees. He interviews Captain Duck Dooch or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then we're going to plant the body in here. And then we're going to get our ratings are going to go through the fucking roof. Like all he's talking about is ratings and shit. Of course it's him.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
Jessica
luckily,
shows up.
like a RoboCop villain. He dies in a horrible way.
That's true. Yeah. While he's like mid being Jason. I just want to point this out too, just because it's the hey, did you see this one? Grimoire of Familiar Killers. My name is Jason. His name is Steve. They're fighting each other. My name is Jason Robert Phillips. Okay, my middle name's Robert. Jason goes into Robert and fights Steven. Also, there's a Grimoire of Familiar Killers in that there's the Necronomicon in this movie. This is the official film. I'm calling it now. I'm claiming it now. This is the official film of Hey, Did You See This One?
I'm
Is that
vetoing.
is that anything? Okay.
I'm vetoing that. It is not the official movie. This movie blows chunks out of
I
it.
was mind blown. I like how also at the start of this podcast you blamed me for bringing this movie to the table as well. Like
The only reason is because I forgot. Usually I give a list to our potential guests, and I thought I gave you a list and you chose this. So I would like to make a retraction. I would like to apologize to our esteemed guest, Cody Crain. I picked the movie. I put it on to you, and here we are.
you're ready to blame me for bringing the movie to the podcast and then shit on the movie that you thought I brought.
Yeah, it's your fault. I take my retraction back. I'm now doubling down on blaming you.
I didn't do this.
It wasn't me.
I would have been like, hey, I know you've already done Jason Takes Manhattan, but we're doing it again.
I think we
And
shit on that one pretty hard too, but actually that one's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's got the boxing scene.
Yeah, I know. I think all the stuff in Manhattan is great, but that's only like
The Manhattan
15
element,
minutes
yeah.
at the end of the movie. The rest is on a boring boat for 90% of it.
That is a lot of the same stuff of this movie that makes no fucking sense. Like when the woman's in that ballroom and she's looking around for Jason and he seems to just be behind her the whole time from his point of anyway. We already talked about it. We'll be back in October.
I think we talked about that one shot for like 10 minutes because we were all trying to figure out what happened. We're like, I think the movie failed in editing. Like we couldn't figure out what happened. And the movie just moves on and you're like, okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Glad you did, Cody. This is the best Friday the 13th. See, Travis knows that you picked it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sorry, Travis, that we're crapping on this movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
I found it easy to watch. It's so short too. The movie,
It's very short.
that's kind of my favorite part about the movie. It's so good at the length.
I stood up to make tea at one point, and then when I came back, I felt like 20 things happened, and I was only standing up for like 45 seconds. I was like, what happened?
The movie moves. It really does move. Are we at the point with the jail cell? Because I'm so
ready to talk about this.
Let me just get us there. Basically, the lady from the diner is cleaning up the blood stain in the house. There's a baby in the mix now. I wrote Jason's gonna want that baby body, I bet. Steven is going to have to stay calm, sees Jessica and the baby as he's being brought into the prison, and then Steven gets thrown in jail. His buddy cop is going to get him out. So yes, we are now at that sequence.
Oh, yeah. So buddy cop, him being friends with Steven ended up being completely unnecessary.
It was also inconsequential. It had absolutely nothing to do with anything. He doesn't show up again later to help, really. It's like, why is he? What's the point?
The mango-sized dump. Yeah, I think that it was very shocking to me to see that Creighton Duke was still in jail.
Yeah, because this does seem like it was days later from that happening, right? Like he's just
a lot happened. There's been
He's also just sitting
night
there
shots.
staring too.
Or I guess it's not days. It's just like the next morning.
I don't think so, because you have the night where Steven picks up the other people, and then it feels like a new night when
it's the same night. It's the same night because she says, come back to my house at 11 p.m. So he drops those kids off and then he goes there at 11 p.m.
Okay.
So it's the same night, but still to hold him all day into the night, into the next morning for just being like, you can't touch me, fuck off. I can smoke cigars whenever I want. See, like he just seems like that kind of guy, but you can't go to jail for that. So holding him overnight on whatever charges is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not. He did have like a Kandarian dagger in his car, which is probably like illegal. They're like, you can't have fancy daggers from hell in your trunk.
But they know that he is a hunter of Jason Voorhees, that he's like for hire.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing anything illegal. Creighton Duke needs a better lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lawyer.
That's the thing.
Yeah, they didn't even offer him that.
Yeah, that's the thing about Creighton Duke, though, is he's like, I don't need a lawyer. I always represent myself. And then he goes into court and then he just like answers all the questions with riddles and shit. Like tries to break people's fingers. He also
seemingly doesn't ever get taken out of jail or let out of jail. He seemingly escapes. But yeah, this whole fingers thing, this whole like riddles for fingers, like, are you trying to help and get rid of Jason or not? Because this is your line of defense against Jason and you're weakening him.
Yeah, I mean, I understood what was going on, but it still doesn't make sense because it's like what he's doing is he's trying to ensure that this guy is actually brave enough to be able to face Jason. That's like the whole point, I think, is that I break one finger. If he comes back for more, I'll break a second finger. But if he offers his hand a third time, this guy is the kind of guy I need to be working with to take out Jason. But I agree that doesn't make any fucking sense because you're breaking a man's hand. It's gonna make it really hard to fuck around with Jason with a broken hand.
I thought it was, like you go to a drug dealer for the first time, they make you do a line, and it's kind of like to like prove your worth, and you're not like in it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of saw this like breaking his fingers thing as like,
Is that what drug
you're
dealers
not
do?
tough. You're not tough enough. So you
Drug
gotta,
dealers make you do a line to make sure you're not in it for the wrong reasons.
yeah, this to make sure you're not a cop.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Travis's headcanon, of course, is that he breaks Steven's fingers to make him unusable as a host for Jason. But they never come close to going that way, which is an interesting idea. But I think that Jason would be fine with broken fingers.
He keeps going
to
with a
the next
hole in his
body.
head.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Fingers.
a fire poker through his heart. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with a couple broken pinkies. But yeah, I think that that's what he's trying to do. Is he's trying to test his metal kind of thing. But again, it's like such an illogical way to go about doing something like that. But it is a way to test somebody's bravery, I guess, or at least their drive to see how far they're willing to go to
I think ultimately that's what it is. It's to test his bravery and his drive.
Also, if Steven's escaping prison at that moment, why wouldn't Creighton do also escape?
Yeah, let me out too.
Yeah, let me out too. We're gonna need each other for this.
Yeah,
because he
Don't
does
break my
very
finger.
much need him later, and
Yeah.
I guess Creighton just gets out on his own accord when all of the police are dead.
You know, when you're watching an old movie and you're like, somehow this feels like it was written by AI, even though it was made in 1992.
That's apt, because this feels like somebody put all of the Jason movies and some others into Grok, not even one of the reputable AIs, into the worst one, and it shit this out. Sorry, Travis. Again, why do people like this movie so much? It's fun. I think it's fun. It's a
It
fun
moves.
movie.
I honestly, I'm a big hater of the first one, and it's better than that one.
Yeah.
It's better than that one. It moves.
I mean, I like the first one, but I don't like it nearly as much as I like some of the other ones in the franchise. But it is a weird like the franchise in general is weird, because it's like I like bits and pieces from a bunch of different movies, but from beginning to end, almost all of them I don't really like solidly all the way through. You know, it's like I like a bunch of stuff from a bunch of the movies, unlike something like the Elm Street movies, where there's some that are so solid, and the Chucky movies where like I'm having a blast all the way through Bride of Chucky. You know, like the whole movie is just fun and I love it. That's not the case with the Friday franchise.
No, it ebbs and
unless you
flows.
count Freddy versus Jason, which I don't really count, because that's more of like a Saturday morning special starring two of your favorite slasher villains, you know.
Like I said, in a perfect world, we have way more of these crossovers. And this one, if Ash was in this, if Bruce Campbell was in this, and it was the same movie exactly, I think I'd even bump it up a letter grade. You know, like it would be so interesting to have Bruce Campbell running around during all this, even if he was just in a cell staring and then started breaking Steven's fingers. You know, he just went to the Army of Darkness. He had to destroy. Also, put Jason in Army of Darkness as a super boss or something that Ash has to fight down there.
Don't you be touching Army of Darkness. You leave Army of Darkness out of this.
You're right, and that's fair. I'm just saying, like why can't Jason actually go to hell? That's, I think, my biggest takeaway at the end of the day, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in my final thoughts. It's just like, look at the cover of this movie. What was I supposed to think this was growing up? The VHS cover was even like it was like puffed out, like it was 3D. You could touch Jason's weird worm.
And isn't that what we always wanted to touch, was Jason's worm?
His weird worm.
I'm gonna cut so many things, Cody, that you've said tonight and take them out of context and just have them about me.
Yeah, it would help me a lot if you two would have legally changed your name before discussing this movie. That would have made it a lot less confusing for me.
I mean, it's confusing me as well, because one of the main characters is Steven, and every time you're like, Steven, and I'm like, what? And then when he wrote Steven as a douche, I'm like, what? Me? What did I say? And they're like, oh, yeah. Different douche.
Right. Yeah. So all the stuff with the finger breaking, and then he basically explains to Steven after that the only way to kill Jason is if somebody from his family kills him. which also was like, why?
Yeah, wait, what? Because they created him and only they can destroy him. But you're also like, was there some sort of ritualistic thing that Pamela Voorhees and Ellis Voorhees did in order to make a unkillable demon baby?
It happened in another dimension movie.
Was it not him drowning as a kid that made him into like what happened here? they don't go deep into it. So you're like, okay, I guess he's just establishing the rules of how to kill him and what needs to be set up in order to do that. But they don't do anything beyond that. So now we sit here with like all this weird lore in our lap. Like, how does the lore connect to the other movies? And every time you start to ask yourself that, the movie's like, shh, shut up. Don't worry about the other movies. That's the rule for this movie, okay? Well, maybe we'll deal with it in the next one. Jason Returns from Hell or whatever. Did
you guys watch this movie on headphones? Because when he breaks his fingers, the sound on headphones was disgusting and insane. Like the cracking of his knuckles on headphones like mortified me. It was gross.
I watched it on TV.
Yeah, I also watched it on TV.
Was it still gross? Because it was loud.
I was more confused. I was more just like, what are we doing here?
What is happening? Yeah.
The first finger break, I was confused. The second finger break, I was like, why is this a good bartering system for information? And then the third one, I was like, oh, he's testing him. He's decided that he's worthy of his partnership. I understand now. And then it made me think of Major Payne or whatever. And I'm like, when did Major Payne come out? Was this taken from Major Payne? Is this from something else? Did Major Payne take this from this? Who knows?
Oh, is that like he gets shot in the leg or whatever, and he's like he breaks his finger to move the pain?
Yeah, he's like, let me get your mind off that pain, and by doing that, he breaks his finger to make him think about a different pain.
Yeah. So the final time, Steven has kind of proven himself, and he doesn't break his fingers, and he gives him the information that, you know, through a Voorhees, Jason was born, Diana was his sister, and Jessica and the baby are his last family members. So Jessica has to be the one to kill Jason. So Steven does the classic feign injury to confuse his buddy cop.
I mean, is he feigning injury? Because his fingers are broken.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
He's like, this guy broke my fucking hand. And he's not lying.
Yeah.
And he does an action move to like get his gun away from him, which is crazy. And this, like, Steven is somehow like trained in espionage or something, because he does another move later where he's like handcuffed. And he just jumps out of puts the handcuffs under his legs and jumps over them, and then gets a gun, and then has no problems. Like, who is this fucking guy?
And then when he's at the diner, he orders a martini shaken, not stirred for some reason.
But yeah, so Steven gets out of there. We go back to the diner. The owner of the diner woman hates the baby. Immediately, she's like, "Get this baby out of here." And
she really she's a mean lady for some reason.
Yeah. And she gets a call. It's about Jason's kind of on his way, or Steven is on his way. It's unclear. But she basically changes her mind and says, take the baby back into the storage room and set him up basically like a nursery, which when Jessica goes back and puts this baby in a box and just leaves, I was like, can you just leave a baby sitting up in a box?
In like a printer paper box, or like a box that like lettuce is delivered in.
Yeah.
On top of like a grill, like a flat top grill with a teddy bear in it, and then she just leaves. Not a safe spot for the baby.
No. And Steven is also just there.
Yeah, 2 seconds later. I think he's just in that room already, isn't he?
Yeah, he's looking at it from like around the corner. He's like, "That's my child."
Yeah.
And Steven, this is when I was like, oh, Steven is Jessica's ex and the baby is his. And I know
why it took you?
Yeah. I know that's obvious, and I know that was probably obvious to you guys much earlier, but I don't
think it was to me. I don't think it really said it, did it?
Well,
I don't remember when I kind of got it, but I feel like it came in late.
That's the reason she's going, or that's the reason he goes to the mom's house, is because she says, we got to talk about my daughter who we were used to, if you want her back, we got to talk about it, come over. And then they're talking about Steven on the phone. And there's a lot of talking about it. They never show you anything, but there's a lot of discussion happening.
I think that like in this movie, I'm just constantly in awe of the thing that just happened and trying to process it, that I miss elements, even though I'm like watching it.
It was the only thing that was interesting to me, to be honest, was I was like, what is the relationship between these three people? And so that's what I was paying attention to, because all of the Jason stuff didn't make any sense at all. That I was like, well, I'm not even going to really try and absorb this information. Let me try and figure out what's happening between these characters.
I think my problem was that a lot of like Jessica, I feel like I didn't see until that moment. Like I felt like that was a brand new character. I think
you see her once over the phone, like she's talking. She's in LA or wherever the fuck she's supposed to be talking to. She's with this TV man, and she's talking about how he's like, I'm seeing someone now, and it's like, oh, do I know who it is? And she's like, no, but you might recognize him from his murder mystery television series that he does.
Right. I think that there was a bunch of people that that the movie didn't tell me that they were significant enough to pay attention to.
Right.
and then when they came back later with such a big spread of time, I was like, who the fuck is this now? Who the hell is
fair. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really have a hard time tracking what was going on, because I mean, there's a few characters that I'm like, this person is acting strangely, but I don't know why. So like, you know, the diner friend, like the other waiter or the other server at the restaurant who like takes the baby for a while.
Right. Yeah.
That character, I didn't really understand what her purpose was, because I don't remember her name. I don't remember like why she's really in it, other than to just be like, oh my God, isn't she a bitch? Like she just hates the owner of the restaurant. That's like all she does. But then also she's mean to Jessica for no reason. Like just their interactions. I'm like, her mom just died. You were cleaning her mom's blood up an hour ago. Why are you being so rude to her all of a sudden? Anyway, that was my main takeaway. I was like, why is this character acting so rudely? And then obviously I'm suspicious of the TV man, because all TV people are bad. Sorry, TV's Cody Crain. Yeah. Do you own a network? Are you concerned about ratings at all times?
I was going to invite this guy back, but we've both have insulted him repeatedly. So
yeah. I can't wait for what movie you give me next time and say that.
Next time we'll give you a list and you can pick one, and then we can actually blame you.
Just strap me into the worst one possible.
Yeah. Come back for Jason X if you want. Actually, Jason X is kind of fun.
I was going to suggest that actually in October, but I'd like to have you back before that. Spoilers. Anyway, it also took me the second watch to fully click the relationships. Characters will walk in halfway through the movie, and I'm so confused, forgetting they showed up at the very beginning. I think that is exactly how I feel about this particular movie, because there's a lot of that, like Steven, when he shows up for the first time, I was like, what is any of this? And I missed the whole part that he was, I guess, going to town, but he wouldn't be going to see Jessica because she's got like a new boyfriend, but there's this baby. There's a lot of...
Jessica is that's her boyfriend, is the TV guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about Steven, though.
Talking about Steven.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
No.
No, he is. Yeah, it's his baby. It's his baby. It's his baby. He's going to go talk to his baby mama's mama about her, because they want to talk about how they can get them back together. That's the whole.
I think it's clear that as a fellow Steven, that you understand the character of Steven more than any.
I was listening to every fucking word that popped out of that boy's mouth.
Yeah, you needed to
Diamond dozen over here.
Do you find yourself cheering for someone that shares your name?
Two Steves in a pod. Not really, no. Usually Stevens are villains. Often Stevens are villains.
Because Jason is the villain of this movie, and I was like, who's he going to body swap with next?
There's not a lot of movies where Stevens are like heroic characters. other than Steve Rogers.
Yeah, well, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
But they never call him Steven Rogers.
No.
yeah, we're short on Cody's. I have Cody Banks, hero. Sweet
Hero.
Life of Zach and Cody, hero.
Heroes.
Probably even more heroic than Captain America if you think about it. And
I guess
And I am. Don't
also-
worry.
I guess I also have Stephen Strange. It's a pretty cool.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
2 Avengers.
I got 2 Avengers. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Are there other?
I got
Stevens?
no Avengers unless Cody Banks is one. Is he one?
Cody
I think,
Banks.
I think Kevin Feige is going to write in Cody Banks so he can
Yeah.
get Malcolm in the Middle back or at all into the MCU. There's not a lot of Jasons, man. Jason is always played as like a name you shouldn't have or something. Jason's been a weird name to have my whole life. There's the professional wrestler from ECW in the 1990s named just Jason. I always think of him.
I wonder where he got that
And-
name from.
And Jason Voorhees. Cody, I'll just tell you quickly. My dad thought that after Jason dies, and I think 4, it's like Jason's dead. He's done. He said there's going to be no more Jason movies. I'm like, this is the 4th one. And then less than 1 year later, like literally 11 months later, the month before I was born, another Friday the 13th came out. And then now he tells me that, oh yeah, whatever. You're named after, like you're the son of a J, like a marijuana cigarette. So you're actually named after weed. And I'm like, that's not better. So, yeah.
Mine, my name was very close to being Wendell, named after Wendell Clark, my dad's favorite hockey player. So
Okay.
I just dodged a bullet before. Then I guess Cody's Buffalo Bill Cody, I guess. I don't know.
Cody from Final Fight.
Perfect.
Or is it Streets of Rage? It's one of those fighters. Yeah. I was almost named Bear after Bear River because my parents conceived me in a van by Bear River.
Down by the river.
Yeah. So
Oh, I got
Anyway.
Steve Zissou. That's a good one.
that's a good
Oh
one.
yeah, there's a lot of good Steves.
Yeah.
It's a
Steve
much more
Urkel.
common name.
Steve
It's a much
Urkel.
more common name than Jason or Cody.
Steven Universe. Steve from Minecraft. Yeah. A lot.
Chicken.
The one that I always thought of, like when I was young, I was like, no one's ever named Steven anything, was like the character from The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, and like the other character that crashes with him, the guy from like Lost and all those other. That was that show called like When or whatever. His name was Steven. He was like the cameraman. From, that's what I meant. Yeah.
From
When?
that's still coming out. I think a new season. Soon.
Yeah.
Stephen Toast as well. Toast of London, if you've ever watched that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a fantastic.
Yes. I have.
I've got some good actors named Jason, like Bateman, Momoa, Statham, and Sudeikis. No, I didn't just pull up a list of Jasons. Jason Todd. There, I got Jason Todd, the worst Robin, the second worst Robin.
Isn't he the evil Robin?
Yeah, he's the Robin that becomes Red Hood. Travis, you got Travis Barker. That's a pretty good one.
Yep.
Travis. Listen, Steven goes over to Jason's nightmare house and he finds the literal Necronomicon, like literally the actual book from the Evil Dead, aka the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. And that's when I made a note that we kind of already talked about how Jason and Steven are in this movie. But this is I wanted to mention that
I think Jason messaged me that on Facebook. Like
I did.
messaged me like several times, and I just refused to answer you every time.
I messaged you once. But
Pretty
I
late
did want
in the
to
movie to make that connection too.
I did want to say too, though, that like we've been doing these Friday the 13th movies for literally years now, and every time somebody posts like, "Are you going to talk about how Jason is a Deadite?" I'm like, "We're going to get to it. This is the movie where that happens, or that's revealed." But I don't know if in any of the other movies there's breadcrumbs of that. I think literally because this one has 2 things from the
And
Evil
it's
Dead
also
series.
it's just a theory. It's not a there's no there. I think Sam Raimi has said in interviews, yeah, but in a way that it's like people have been asking him all the time, where he's like, "Yeah, sure, why the fuck not? Shut up,
Yeah.
stop
This is
asking."
a Comic-Con panel. I'll say whatever.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Sure, why the hell not? Jason's a deadite, whatever. He does act like one, but he doesn't float around. That's the only thing. Deadites usually float around. That's the main difference. But they also do turn into weird wormy elephant neck things, like giraffe neck creatures that have monkey noises coming out of them. And this thing, the worm, does kind of sound like a weird baby monkey when it comes out.
It's true. But Steven falls into that weird basement almost. He's hanging on. Jessica's new boyfriend, Robert, shows up. I'm like, why is he there? Oh, he's the TV host from TV, and he's planning on hiding Diana's body there. Or it is already hidden there. He's planning on bringing the body out and dressing the place up more than it already is. It already looks like a gross, decrepit, like haunted house, but he's going to make it more haunted for TV ratings.
And he's like, and I stole the body from the morgue.
Yeah.
And then you can hear his homelessness or whatever, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, just calm the fuck down, man.
And I fucked Jessica.
Yeah, I didn't really want to say that line, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I wrote gross after that.
Yeah, that was unsettling.
I wrote gross after you said it just now.
Yeah. But
this is where it's revealed that he's a horrible person, but he also has had almost no interaction. I don't think he's even had interaction with Jessica in this movie yet. He's in the background while he's talking to his mom on the phone, and then there's like a moment where he's like, "Everything okay?" And like that's the extent of them being together. Then he dies. Then he dies right now. He gets turned into a Jason. He gets
Jason Culp shows up and he snakes into Robert, and then that's when the cop fucking melts all over the floor. So get your banh mi's out. It's time to eat.
Yeah. Where's the graphic for that?
Do we have the banh mi sting?
Pull that one up. If that doesn't get added to future episodes for any time gore comes out that's gross, get your banh mi's out.
Yeah. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, this was kind of the best death. I don't know if you would technically call it a kill just because of he's already dead, I guess, but the melting is so good, and you wonder why haven't the other people melted when they left the body?
Yeah, right. They melted off screen.
Yeah, off screen. I guess
there's just a bunch of puddles all over whatever town this is. Yeah, this reminded me. This is where I'm like, oh, this is kind of Hellraiser adjacent in terms of like when Hellraiser they're the first two Hellraiser movies where they basically start off as like a weird gooey mess and they have to absorb people in order to reconstitute themselves or whatever. It's super viscerally disgusting and it like sticks to me. This day it creeps me out. Like the first two Hellraiser movies they're so effective in their
I love those
gooey nastiness at the beginning. And this reminded me a lot of that where I was eating ramen. Like I made myself a fancy ramen and then his guts all fall out and I was like, no more ramen for now, but we'll come back to you later, ramen.
There's also an insane bit that happens while he's melting. He like walks over and knocks into the wall and Diana, I guess, was just like propped up against the wall and falls on top of Steven while he's like in that pit, which I thought was also like pretty fucking gnarly. And then Jason,
I didn't expect to see the core, but I mean, he did say like I hid it in the closet, and it's like, oh, cool. But then
she's just like up against the wall, rigor mortis, like that.
Or I mean, like you guys were saying earlier, this movie moves like it doesn't even really give you time to fully process. Like, I wonder where the body is before it just falls into frame. Like, oh, there it is, right there. Didn't even have time to think about that.
Also, the thing I just thought about now was that I mean, I'm skipping a little bit ahead, but when he goes back to the house, the floor kind of like starts to give in again. Is that the same? This is a different time. And then he's like, oh no, I'm just realizing that called back to him falling through the floor.
Yeah,
that's how fast this moved
then,
that I just think like I couldn't even process that he already picked up on, oh, I might fall again.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to call back on when they don't call back on so many things.
So many other more important things.
inconsistency too, which kind of messes up the ending where the cop chief comes in all messed up and he can talk, and that's why I was confused, because this cop like talks a little bit.
Yeah, he's the only one that does. Like the whole movie, they're not talking when it's Jason, and then this one can talk.
Is he talking after like the worm comes out of him, or is it before the worm comes out of him?
I think
Right
this is
when the worm's
actually,
still in him.
isn't it?
Oh no, when he's
final
melting.
scene. Isn't it when there's multiple cops at the end? Isn't that the last scene?
Yeah, but in this sequence, the cop that he's in, I remember, says something like gurgles something like words, but I can't remember if it was after the worm is out of him or if it's while the worm's still in him.
Yeah, because I think it's when he's out of them, because the first one to talk is when there's like 3 people in the room and Creighton Duke's telling him not to trust anybody, and all of them are talking. And then I'm like, okay, well, Jason wouldn't be talking, but
they're all talking.
Yeah, he was evidently.
Jason's trying his hardest. He's like, like, what do you say? What is he saying? Jason, you're putting those things up so quick that I have no time to read them.
No, I know it's it's because we were still talking. I didn't want to move to the next thing, but the dumbest thing in this movie is after Jessica kicks Steven out of the car. From the time she leaves and the other cop shows up, Steven is still rolling on the ground for some reason.
Right. Yeah. Steven's on the ground for so long. Like he seemingly. I also picked up on that because he's like just laying there defeated, I guess, for at least an hour. Like she drives away, goes to the police station. The cops have to then listen to her story and then drive out where she was. And he's still in the exact same spot, not knocked out or anything, just laying there.
He's just defeated. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, resigned. I give up. I'm just going to lay here and die, I guess.
That's why this is what like my point before was like, was this written by Chat GPT? Is because like that's the kind of thing that AI would forget to do. It's like, what happened to him? It's like, oh yeah, well, he's just still lying there. He's just there. Don't worry about it. He's just lying there. He's thinking about all of the bad, piss poor decisions that he's made over the course of his life. He's regretting leaving his baby and his wife behind. He's in a little bit of pain. His fingers are still busted from Church Manuel or whatever his name is, the bounty hunter.
Church Manuel.
Yeah, Church Manuel Miranda. Church Manuel Miranda.
Right.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just in my head. Even I think I'm having like a difficult time placing the scenes in order at this point. Like I'm like, what has happened already? What happens next? Kind of thing. Just
my full
blends.
franchise kaleidoscope is happening to you in this one movie where the whole thing just sort of is a muddled mess of
this part of the movie reminds me of the chase sequence from Raising Arizona, you know, when he's like in the diaper chase and how it's so chaotic and it's so breakneck and everything is just clipping back and forth to different things. That's what this feels like, even though it's not fast paced at all. It's just like so hectically cut. Like we go to the diner. Like, have we gone through the diner yet? I don't even know. Like, I'm like,
no.
This is where I went to get tea. Where I was like, time to get tea, and then I came back. I'm like, oh, the diner has been fucked up. What happened here?
The next thing is Jessica in the shower crying for whatever reason, and the lights randomly go out.
Dead, Jason.
Okay. That part isn't random, but the sequence is random. Cody already brought it up earlier.
Where she's naked and crying. Like the naked in the tent having sex, sure. That brings Jason upon you. And the cop even doing it at the start's a little weird because it's a whole setup thing. So like
that's more like bait. That's Jason bait. Jason Bateman.
Yeah, but do you need and isn't the whole thing Jason Bate? Like he's already around when the garage door slams or whatever. Like
this is a smart government agency. They're like, after vigorous testing, it seems that only after you get your tits and ass out does Jason decide to kill. We need to make sure
that one
and ass. You better get your ass out as well, woman.
That one, because of the kind of like twist of it being a setup, sure, I'll go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the third one here of her crying naked, grieving her mother, in the shower is the most unnecessary, where it's like, okay, this is just gratuitous. Like, this
Yeah.
is,
And it's like, yeah, it's like, what are we meant to feel here? It's like you're trying to titillate us while also making us feel, remorse for the character and empathy for the character, but you're also like JO material. Like, this is weird. This is weird.
But yeah, the lights
Pick
go
one
out.
movie. Pick one.
The lights go out. She gets a hammer. Steven gets Jessica and they escape. But first they hit Jason with the car. So like Steven shows up. She's freaking out. They try to escape. And then she doesn't believe that Steven is like he's escaped from jail from her point of view. Yeah. And she's trying to like escape him now as well. But
he also is not really convinced that he didn't kill her mother.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or kill her boyfriend now too.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's the body Jason's in at this point. And like, even though he's like, the boyfriend's like breaking the window and trying to kill him.
I think that there is a part of her that realizes something's up with whatever his name is, Mr. News. Because like she has like a look on her face like, what the fuck? Because he's got those like crazy dark circles. He has just one punched a window.
Well, we know at home that
these are 1993 windows. These things are basically bulletproof.
We know at home that Jason, when he's possessed somebody, their nose is clearly broken and bleeding, and their eyes have they just have a broken nose, and their eyes have dark circles from a broken nose. Like that's what it looks like every time. I guess when the snake goes in your mouth, it breaks your whole plate. Your face plate. Right. Is that what it's called? Is that the scientific term?
I just assumed that it was like the gunk from going in you gets all over your face or whatever, but blood. But anyway, and then he runs him over with the car and he's got a big bloody track mark across his guts or whatever. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, they drive away and he's like trying to convince her, but they're not having a conversation. It's more like they're just screaming at each other. But he's like, I killed him. You saw me kill him, right? And she's like, yes. And he's like, well, I also killed another guy, but then he didn't stay dead. So that means he's going to come back and kill us too. And she's like, all right. Dick punch. And just punches him right in the cock and then kicks him out of the car and drives away.
Well,
good for her.
And Steven remains on the ground.
Yeah.
Grieving his balls.
He got punched in the balls. That's what happened, is that he could not get up for a while. Yeah. She got him real good right in the emergency ejector seat, or whatever you want to call it.
That talks about the director wanting to bring Duke back. If this was Star Wars, we'd have an expanded universe novel of the adventures Steven went on during the hour he was rolling around.
Or he had like a vision. Yeah, he'd have like a vision or something, some sort of vision quest where he'd learn all the backstory of Jason Voorhees from Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare.
You want to know more, bitch? Follow me.
But yeah, so they end up hitting Robert as Jason and running over him pretty brutally. And of course, he survives that. They pull over, and Steven tries to explain the situation. And Jessica's still like, what are you talking about? And kicks him out and flees without Steven. Mm-hmm. And that is the him lying around on the side of the road for a long time. Yeah. Jessica gets to the police station and is in a frenzy. The cop friend finds Steven in the middle of the road and punches him in the face. They have a fight. They both have guns, which I thought was a funny moment. Like, I have this gun. And he's like, I also have this gun. What do we do?
Gunfight.
Yeah. That would have been funny if they just got into like a around the car gun altercation. Just to add to the insanity of the movie. Like, it wouldn't push anything forward, just be ridiculous. That's why like a lot of the choices in this movie seem like, what would be the most ridiculous thing to have happen to these people right now? Like, barring the fact that there's a homicidal zombie who can switch bodies at any time, chasing all these people. What's something ridiculous? Well, let's get a TV anchor who's
he's obsessed with ratings. But he's also horny. But he also hired a bounty hunter for $500,000 who knows everything about Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This movie's crazy. It's a crazy
insane
movie.
And we're it sounds like we're shitting on it. I personally don't hate the movie. I just you need to talk through it to really get out of it what I think was meant to be gotten out of it because of how ridiculous everything
Listen,
is.
I came into this conversation being like, it's not that bad. It's kind of like an okay body swap movie. It just doesn't feel like a Jason movie. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, this movie kind of sucks. Like,
That's the problem. We usually go the other way with a movie like this, but no, I kind of don't like this movie because it's so like confusing to my brain.
The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm realizing that I don't like it. So let's just get to the diner scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jessica's at the station and Steve tells cop friend to take, it's revealed that she went to the station. So he's like, fine, arrest me and take me there. Jason Robert busts in and starts killing all the cops, grabs Jessica, tries to worm her. Steve does his little action move that I mentioned earlier where he like jumps out of the handcuffs and shoots the shit out of Jason, who is Robert.
We get a good kill here too with the one cop just getting his nose broken to death.
Yeah.
Just the one strike. That was a pretty good subtle kill.
Oh yeah. And then the two guys get their heads clonked together, and it looks like they got like
I forgot about the two guys getting their head. That's my favorite death. The two guys getting their heads clonked together once, and that impaling both of them.
It's like, and then when it separates, it looks like it was meant to, like, crushed it or something, but the makeup wasn't that great, so you don't see it for that long, and you're like, oh no.
Is this nitpicky to you, or did you also have the moment where he checks the guy's pulse? The cop comes up and checks the guy's pulse and then says, he's breathing. Is it nitpicky for me to be like, that's funny and ridiculous? Or
so the guy with a bullet hole in his head?
No. Well, yeah, but he comes up and he checks the guy's wrist for a pulse. And then he says, he's breathing.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest. But yeah, that is funny because like he's checking his pulse, not his breath.
Yeah, he could say like,
he's breathing. Yeah.
Also, was he doing
his heart is breathing? Yeah.
He was doing that for. Oh no, he was doing that for the other cop, right?
Yeah, when the police come up the stairs to find the two guys that got clunked together, he checks his pulse in his wrist and says he's breathing.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's nitpicky, and I even wrote like this. It makes perfect sense that he would just infer that the guy is still breathing, but like visually to check a guy's wrist and then say he's breathing was funny to me.
Also, that was Jason at that time too, right?
Yeah.
So would Jason have a pulse?
Yeah, his heart beats.
Yeah, I guess his heart.
No, because
even outside his body, his heart still beats.
Yeah.
No, these were the two police. These were the two police that got clunked together. Jason is shot against the wall with a bullet.
They don't check the two clunked heads guy's pulse.
No.
Don't they check the pulse?
The police come up the police come up the stairs and check the other police officer's wrist and says he's breathing, and then go down the hallway. Yeah,
I see. But we do know that Jason would have a pulse now, so that's
a really strong
that third cop just looks at Robert after he does. After he does all that and just bolts out of there. And then Duke shows up and knocks him out, and Jason leaves. So now we're at the diner. The owner of the diner lady holds Jessica and Steve at gunpoint when they show up, and she has like no thoughts behind her eyes about the situation because it's like she just wants to save the baby now and doesn't realize that like Jessica's showing back up even though she's with Steve, and it's like, well, Jessica is the baby's mother and has like kind of final say, but now this woman is so like protective of the baby. This also was weird.
She wants to sell the baby, Jason. You know how many hamburger patties you can make out of a baby?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. It's true, though. She seems like she doesn't want anything to do with the baby, and then now she's all of a sudden really into having the baby there.
Yeah. And then she's like, hey, take this gun, son, and watch your willy, because he like spins it and tucks it in his waist. And she says, watch the willy. And then she sends him outside to encounter Robert as Jason. And then outside, that's when we get the scene of him I think he shoots him, but he also just like goes to punch him and then gets the most gnarly
the arm break. Bone shot out of the
he gives him a
forearm.
Mortal Kombat move. This one didn't really do it for me. I was like, yeah.
Well, it's like we saw that guy once and he gave Steven car keys.
Yeah.
They were like, okay,
take my car. I know
and
you're
also,
good for it.
Yeah.
Also, the
Goodbye,
weird
Steven's
like
best friend.
yeah. Also, when she wrestles the gun out of it, and then the bullet, we get a POV of the bullet hitting the lights, and then the lights go out.
Right.
What was the point of having a POV of a bullet hitting something?
Because it's cool.
Is
They
it?
wanted. It's an interesting camera angle, which so far this movie hasn't had many. So they wanted to do some. They were like, if Sam Raimi can do it, we can do it. Remember, guys, they're trying to integrate the Evil Dead universe. We needed to have a crazy demon cam of some kind. So instead, they did bullet vision.
That's true. There was also, I don't know if it's happened yet, but there was also like a slow motion sequence. It might be what's coming up here, but a slow motion sequence of a bunch of stuff happening, and it's all in slow motion.
I think it's when he kicks in the door and the waitress slow motion like shoots out.
I think it's this next sequence.
Yeah.
Jason makes it in. They firing range. Yeah, they do a firing range moment to him, and escape out the back. And then the baby is gone, and there's a note. But I think the whole thing before the head in the fryer and the elbow to the face is like all of this next moment is in slow motion for the first time. There's no other slow motion in this whole movie.
No. Yeah, Leslie Jordan goes on the fryer, the chin gets caved in, and the note is us finding out the Duke is not in jail anymore.
Yeah, I escaped, and I know everything you need to know. And I'm gonna now lore dump on your ass. And he does, but he only drip feeds it though. He doesn't lore dump, I suppose.
That's true.
And he's explained it several times. So this is one of those things where I'm like, the movie is redundant here for this. This should have been when the lore dump happened. But whatever, it's fine.
Well, I also want to say that when the redhead that works at the diner stabs Jason, we do get the closest thing to this, and it is this.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
She says, "Go to hell," and stabs him, but then he grabs her and pulls her into him, and she gets stabbed out as well. At an hour and 10 minutes and 26 seconds. There's been better title drops in other movies.
Really?
Telling somebody to go to hell is very close to Jason Goes to Hell. I'm
pretty sure that there's been better title drops for this movie in other Jason movies.
True.
Like Go
It's
to Hell,
crazy
Jason.
you saying an hour and 10, like there's only 10 minutes left of this movie. And it's crazy that now switches locations all into back to the house. Because it feels like that was its own big thing. But I guess it was very short.
It was. We didn't even gloss over it because Cody, you literally said all the things that happened in sequence. And then they get Jason down and Jessica and Steven leave. Jessica just runs off and grabs a truck and leaves on her own again, leaves Steven behind. And it's revealed that the Duke was the one that left the note and was like, go to the Voorhees house, I'll explain everything. And Steven grabs a machete off the wall, which also should be like, that's when they said the name of the movie in the movie, because the machete thing happens in like every Friday the 13th, where it's usually Jason getting the machete and everybody cheers, but in this, Steven gets it.
Yeah, and people Jason's not really in this movie, so Steven they were like, well, people will surely like Steven just as much as they ever like Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to clip that as well.
Yeah.
Holding on to hope, brother.
Yeah.
Subversion of expectations. It is kind of, I mean, it is kind of nice. This whole like 15 people try because they just think he's a regular guy, right? And it's like they got shotguns and pistols and they're blasting. And he looks like the more they stab him, the more he looks like James Woods to me for some reason. I'm like, did his eyebrows disappear?
That's a good point, actually. I was like, who does this fucking TV personality look like?
He also does a classic Jason kill, which is to squish the head squish.
Yep.
Yeah. Fun fact: this movie is the one that they almost had zero of anything in the Friday the 13th video game. There's almost nothing in that game that comes from this movie.
I was wondering about that because you played, like, you basically did the equivalent to beating that game, even though it's an online asymmetrical survival. Is there anything in that game that is directly out of this, or like, do they go to the diner or anything, or the Voorhees house? Because even the Voorhees house in this movie, I was like, why are they just...
There is no Voorhees house outside of this movie.
Yeah, exactly. There's the Voorhees cabin, which I thought was supposed
and it's
to
not
be
a cabin, it's like a bunch of junk that he's like leaned up against each other to make
like a Fallout style shack made of,
held together with trash bags and fishing wire.
Yeah.
And he sleeps in a pile of bones and he's got a sweater with his mom's severed head surrounded by candles.
Yeah.
It's not a cabin. It is a hovel. It's made of dirt and grime. The Voorhees house is not really a thing outside this movie, unless I don't know of it. Which, if I don't, then I apologize to all you Jason freaks out there on the internet. But
But when Jessica arrives at the house, Duke has the baby. Duke feigns like he's going to stab the baby and not going to give the baby over, but he does give the baby over. And he tosses her the dagger, and it starts to glow. So only a Voorhees can kill Jason.
It doesn't start to glow; it completely transforms.
Right. It also turns into a giant, like almost sword when she touches it.
I mean, it stays the same size-ish, but the handle gets real fancy. It has like a snake skull on it, and it looks all dragony. It looks like a dagger from hell. A hell dagger.
It's insane that Jessica is the person that wields this power. Like, Jessica is the most important person to what the story needs right now. And she's like, basically, she might be who we know the least about in this entire
We know more about the baby than we know about her.
Yeah, she's barely. This is like because essentially what she has is like Terrifier 2, right? Like, it's like the lead, if you watch Terrifier 2 or Terrifier 3, the lead woman, anyways, I'm so bad with character names, but like, she's the one person that can kill Art the Clown, and she's the lead of the movie, right? And you essentially have that exact same story, but it's someone that's not really in the movie that you don't give a shit about, other than that she needs to be used as, she's almost more of a prop to this movie.
She's more of a prop than the Kandarian dagger that is being hucked around that chamber at the end.
Yeah, it's like, find this random person that we only know from crying in the shower unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And give her this thing, and then she can do the thing. But we don't know anything about any of her capabilities.
Yeah, it feels like, because like they're really trying to make Steven into like a Tommy Jarvis style. Like, we like this guy, want to see him take down Jason, but then the movie is telling us the whole time, like, you specifically cannot ever defeat Jason. The only person that can is this person that will punch you in the dick every time you get near them. So
yeah, like, if we had a little bit more time with this movie, like, I feel like Jessica should have been shown to have some sort of latent power or something to make it seem more like
she does. When she touches a dagger, it turns into a sick hell dagger. It'd be funny if it fell into the baby's crib and the baby touched it and it turned into a crazy dagger. That'd be cool.
That would have been better. That would have been funnier and would make more sense in the context of this ridiculous movie.
And then the baby picks it up and is like, no, I was going to do a Chucky voice, but I won't do that.
I did like the next scene, like before we get to like the final push, where the police chief, I think his name's Ed, he goes into the diner and just sees just the mayhem and he looks at every single corpse, the punched face, the cooked man. Leslie Jordan's cooked on the flat top after getting cooked in a fryer. There's like, there's just viscera and mayhem. And then just back to the Voorhees house.
Yeah, we know exactly where to go.
Yeah. And Duke gets there. He almost falls into the pit and he gets stabbed. Cop friend shows up. Jessica stabs Ed and then the knife rolls under a table. But there's like a little twist where you're supposed to think that Ed, the police chief, is Jason, but he's like, I am not Jason. So if that cop previously had never talked, we would know. It's almost like they put that little thing in earlier. But I don't think the writers of this movie were really thinking about it that way and putting these little things.
They also hamburgered their writer in the first scene, so he didn't get to finish writing the movie. So they're just writing as they went.
He only wrote.
I think we talk about this on the show sometimes, where it's obvious that they get to set that day and they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. We just came up with it. And I don't think there was any foresight, but Ed gets killed, or does Ed get killed? Does he survive? Anyway, it turns out that the cop friend of Steven is actually the Jason, and he starts to warm the baby, and Steve runs in and machetes the cop friend's head straight off, gets decapitated, and then out of his neck comes a bunch of ramen.
I also was like, I hadn't finished my ramen. I was like, I'm gonna put this down for a little while.
Come on!
And then I saw it and I looked down at the ramen and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna finish this ramen tonight. What is happening?
But
I'm trying to think. Sorry, I'm trying to think of like if I'm an actor cast in this movie, and I'm trying to like when you get cast in this stuff, like you kind of like try to understand your importance in the movie or whatever. You get your like character description, and there's so many characters in this that I would like if I read that, I'd be like, oh, like if I got cast as like Creighton Duke or whatever, then I'd be like, oh, I have to be like big in this movie, but then I'm in like 2-3 scenes. And like Jessica especially, like if I was cast as that role, like I'm the I
killed Jason at the end.
I killed Jason at the end. I'm related to Jason Voorhees. I'm the only one that can do it by the end. Then I'd be like, holy shit, I'm the lead of this thing. Nope.
Well, technically, I mean, there's this other character. His name is Steven, and he's very important.
Yeah, if I read the Steven role and I'm like, oh, I got this guy.
I'm playing Steven in a movie called Jason. Damn it.
Yeah.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it would be just the most confusing first getting the script after being cast. Like I would just have no concept of what level anybody's role is in this movie.
I feel like the guy at the beginning, the doctor at the beginning, is like almost way more interesting than most of the characters in this movie, and he doesn't even have his own mind autonomy for like after the opening credits finish.
I rewatched this movie, and my memory was that Phil, that lab tech at the beginning, who the first guy that becomes Jason, I thought he was way more prominent in this movie, and he goes away pretty quick. Like he's in and out, and I thought that he was more of a figure in this, and I think that all of the characters have their prominence at the time that they're in the movie, but they move on so quickly that it's the kaleidoscope effect. Like this movie is so weird in that it throws.
Maybe that's why they had him shave the mustache, because they're like, people are going to confuse these two Jasons. We got to get one of them to get the mustache shaved off partially through.
Yeah. Jason's a pervert, confirmed.
Yeah.
The joke is that like one of them is a big tall black guy and the other one's like a short little stout bald white guy. That was the joke I was making. Okay.
I know, I didn't want to do a race thing. Because even I thought you were going to be like, oh, because Duke is also black, and I really, as I was saying it, I was like, does this sound like I just think that?
No. Now you've turned it into something weird.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I didn't choose this.
In my memory, you did, so that's how it remains, just like this movie. But we get to the worm that crawls out of Robert's neck is not a worm. It is like a
It's got
fully
arms.
formed, like one of you said it looked like one of those old toys from the 80s, a ghoulie or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Steven said that. Not from the movie, but from real life. And
There's the
you're
movie
right.
called Spookies, and there's these little weird monsters in Spookies that like crawl around and fly at people, and they like smash them with pots and stuff. And it reminded me of one of those quite a bit. But only if you've seen Spookies will that make any sense to you. Spookies, good movie. No, actually, it's a terrible movie, but it's
Probably
more
terrible.
entertaining than this. There's so many Spookies in it.
But while that thing crawls around, they get Duke out of the pit. The Jason worm sees Diana's corpse. And, well, this is pretty insane to me. Do you remember the movie Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze?
Of course, it's
Yes.
having its anniversary. It's in theaters again.
I know, and let's all go see it on a hated to see this one field trip. But in this movie, in Jason Goes to Hell, this weird creature goes down, and then they all of them realize that, oh, does Jason have to go into a live corpse in order for him to become back to normal? And before I can really process that, Jason fully super shredders out as himself because of Diana's corpse in the basement area. Did you guys have the super shredder connection as well? Because
I mean, as soon as he went down there, I had the thought of like, isn't the mom's body down there? I had the same thought. I feel like the movie didn't need to explain it to us through dialogue.
but why didn't she just come up as like
The mom.
just the mom? Yeah.
Because the implication is that if he can get inside of someone with his own blood, he
oh,
turns back.
yeah.
Yeah, so mission
Okay.
accomplished. He completed his mission at that point.
Yeah.
But it actually, I guess it wasn't. That was the other thing, because Creighton Duke really thought that this was worse. It would be a worse thing, obviously, for this to happen, but it ends up happening, and then they quickly vanquish Jason anyways.
Yeah. But not before Duke gets all of his bones crushed
Yeah, he gets his whole back
and goes
broken.
cross-eyed. I'm like, oh no, you made a choice. The actor made the choice to go cross-eyed when he died, which is never great unless you want it to be goofy, which it was goofy.
But the dagger falls in the pit. We get another Jason through a window moment where they crash out through the window.
One of the worst window crashes in all of the Jason movies, because usually it's someone flying through at high velocity.
Usually it's Jason whipping a person through a window to scare the kids.
Usually it's exciting, but this just looks like two guys fell over and fell out like a window that is just regular height. They don't fall off a balcony or anything. They just fall through the window onto the grass. It's like two drunks fighting at like a barbecue or something. Like, oh god. Yeah. It's like, Uncle Pete is fighting Jason Voorhees again on the lawn. And somebody get the Kandarian dagger and stab him in the heart. And that's what happened.
And they fight like a normal fight. And this is what I was saying very early on in the show, where he had Jason had multiple opportunities to just like snap this regular man, this small regular man,
With broken fingers already.
Well, his whole hand is broken apart. And even though this guy seems to be some sort of James Bond like spy, he gets thrown through a whole gymnasium, a jungle gym at one point, and the jungle gym fully topples after Jason pushes it over, which I thought was an insane thing to put in a movie, but here we are.
Yeah. Also, like, these people seem like demon worshippers. Why would they have a fucking children's playground in their backyard?
I don't know. So young Jason can play on it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Demons need swings too, guys, I guess, and monkey bars and shit.
It also felt like she took forever to grab that knife.
Yeah.
Like it
She
felt
was
like
going like this on it for so long.
And
But
then
then if it
Steven
falls in the
gets thrown through the window, and yeah, she has to go to the basement. But at the same time, it felt like Steven was just getting roughed around for quite a while before she finally
Usually fighting Jason Voorhees, you cannot last unless you're a professional boxer, in which you will gas yourself after punching him 150 times and then get your head
Get your head
clobbered
fully
off.
punched off.
Yeah. But also going down to the basement, that's another thing where it's like, if this was a Deadite crossover, that's the perfect place for some spooky Deadites to come for you out of the dirt down there.
That's what I was thinking. Why put the whole basement element in if it wasn't supposed to be an Evil Dead thing?
Why have a Kandarian dagger?
I guess we had the worm in the basement, I guess.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, the worm was in the basement at one point, so that was kind of our
so Jessica goes down and gets the dagger.
Worm a lot less scary than Jason Voorhees, I gotta say. I gotta tell you, if I go with two things, one scarier than the other, Jason's scarier than a worm.
I don't know, that worm going in my mouth. Don't like the sound.
I don't like getting viscous liquid vomited in my mouth with a worm as well. Maybe just the liquid, or maybe just the worm.
Would you rather the worm go in your mouth or all three of us get our heads clonked together?
Who's in the middle?
I think it depends on who's in the middle.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
I think the middle beard needs to be in the middle. That's how we do the order.
Okay, so I'll go in the middle, I guess.
Yeah.
Clearly, I have the middle beard.
It goes short beard.
I was saying I'll go in the middle because it'll probably be the quickest. Like you guys will come in and my head will just be obliterated by you two.
Yeah. Yours will explode and ours will just get caved in.
And then you guys will be like, like slowly die and I'll just be dead. It's fine.
And somebody will check my pulse and say that I'm still breathing.
Still breathing.
Perfect. Yeah. So Jessica goes down and gets the dagger. There was a funny moment where Steve grabs a shovel and just shovels Jason, which is always great. It's looking pretty bad. They fight using the jungle gym, which I already mentioned. Jessica sneaks up and stabs Jason with the dagger. He doesn't quite die, but then she fucking drop kicks the dagger through his chest, and the hands of hell start to rise up from the sand of this backyard. It turns into a desert for some reason, and I like that in the sky.
Jason, don't you know? Aren't you familiar with the deserts of hell?
Yeah, I guess so. But the sky turns into like a brilliant light that shines down on the spot.
I kind of like this actually.
That was cool.
Visual here is all kind of sweet. I like the big Muppet hands coming out of the ground. I like that they're huge, like that they're not just like little hands. I like that Jason is legitimately seems frightened because that doesn't happen very often in any of these movies. Fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't know why they were coming for Steven too, the hands.
I think they were just trying to grab whatever they could.
Yeah,
they're like, so sick. But yeah, they probably only get this opportunity once, every
in a millennia.
7 years or so when Jason's trying to escape hell.
Yeah, those hands were also more prominent in the movie than Jessica.
Yeah, that's true. They had more character development. One of them was like, "Hello, you want to hear my stand-up routine?"
He's doing a ventriloquist act with another one of the hands. But Steven, Jessica runs over, pulls Steven away as it kind of like closes in on Jason getting pulled completely under, and Jason is vanquished forever. They kiss, and all that's left is Jason's mask. And as the movie ends, we get a huge setup for a movie that would happen next year in 1994. Freddy's hand comes up and grabs the mask and pulls it under as well. So next year in 1994, we get Freddy versus Jason versus Ash versus Chucky versus Halloween versus Art the Clown versus Saw. And it's fucking great. So come back this fall when we talk about Freddy versus Jason versus Chucky versus Ash versus Halloween versus Art the Clown versus Saw.
I love how that was Art the Clown's debut too. And
yeah, and Halloween.
Yeah. Realistically, where would Jigsaw fit in on that? He catches them and puts them in traps.
Yeah, he puts them all in the game. Yeah,
Play a game.
You want to play a game, Freddy?
Yeah. And they're all like,
Freddy's like,
"What the hell?
what a
You better not fall asleep, old man, because I will fuck you up."
But that's the movie. Freddy versus Jason Goes to Hell, or whatever we just talked about. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Yeah.
Spoilers, not the final Friday. There's one more Friday. Happens 400 years in the future, and then there's another Friday that happens a few years after this. Don't think about timelines too hard. But I think
Don't
with
worry,
that,
I
I know you don't, because I've been trying to, for all of these franchises, I'm like, well, if that means that if this was this many years, and you're like, don't do that.
Like,
To either of our brains.
Shut it.
Yeah, just shut it. Shut up your mouth. But we can probably now go into our Home Alone of it all, our final thoughts.
If you had to pick one,
what do you think the Home
when
Alone of it
is
all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone?
I really gotta know.
When is the Home Alone of
What
it all?
is the Home Alone of it all? Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Okay, so let me explain this to you, Cody, since you're here for the first time. The Home Alone of it all is the idea that in the movie Home Alone, there's that end stretch of the movie that's like Kevin McAllister takes out the blueprint, he slaps it down on the table, and he sets up the house of horrors for Harry and Marv, right? What we've realized that if you look at a lot of movies have that sequence or that moment you're there to see. It can either be literally just your favorite part of the movie. It could be like the trailer moment that's sold to you. Sometimes it's just the third act, right? So it's kind of like the sequence that you're sort of gearing up to see in a movie, right? So take that into consideration, right? And then on top of that, just your final thoughts and your rating for the movie. And also the rating doesn't matter. It can be whatever you want. And the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I think the Home Alone of it all was the first 5 minutes. I think that was what we wanted to see. We wanted to see Jason be Jason, and then we got to see him get shot up to bits. Imagine that was like the last like 10 minutes of the movie was that opening sequence. You'd be on your hands for an amazing
like
experience.
this movie in reverse almost. Like the first
this movie in reverse. That was to me like, okay, here we go, this is it. And then I was expecting for Jason to be in hell going through his crazy zany adventures as he always does. But yeah, that to me was it. And then I'll say I think I already rated this on my letterbox, and I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. And I just simply put, we've gone too far.
And do you have anything to add for like a final thought on the movie, or is that pretty much?
It just felt like, I think because my final thought of the movie is I'm thinking about if I was to watch this when it came out, like if I'm in theaters watching this. Now, no matter what I was thinking towards the end, I think that Freddy Krueger hand coming out, I would be like, that would be our like Nick Fury moment, right? Like that's our Avengers end credits. And I think in the theater at that time, I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I'd lose my mind. But knowing what happens and then knowing that like Freddy versus Jason doesn't come out for like another like almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Almost a decade. I'm like, it just felt random watching it now. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? What is this?
Yeah.
So such a strange swing to have for something that wasn't locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know they were so confident about it too, being like, this is it. People are gonna be talking about that end credit scene's gonna fill the seats. People are gonna go to their friends, their family, and be like, and then Freddy Krueger's hand comes out at the end, and it just didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's very sad.
Right.
But Freddy versus Jason, good movie.
Mm-hmm.
This not so much.
Thank you, Cody. Definite invite back to the couch for sure. I also just want to hit this up. My Home Alone of it all from T Theaters. My Home Alone of it all is when Marv fell down the stairs, and Travis's Home Alone of it all is the guy saying he was going to take a mango-sized dump on his mask. I knew then that the movie was speaking my language. So thanks both of you. Thank you, Travis. Also, Travis, you're welcome back to the couch anytime. Steven, go ahead.
My Home Alone of it all is when I thought the movie was setting up some sort of crazy government level, how do we take down Jason thing. It's so exciting to even consider the idea of the government getting involved and realizing like, this thing is out there. We need to stop this thing from killing more teens, our precious teens. They're dropping like flies at Crystal Lake. And you get it, but then the disappointment that follows is major. And it is such a fun idea. Like things like Cabin in the Woods. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that movie, but
of course,
it takes the idea of like a government agency being completely aware of all of these monsters and creepy killers and things that exist, and they utilize it as an even bigger monstrous containment system. Like it's such a cool, interesting idea. And like this movie is playing in that field, or like trying to play with those crayons, but just really kind of fucking it up. And it's disappointing. And you know, as I said at the beginning of this discussion, I don't mind this movie as a movie, but as a Friday the 13th movie, it just seems to be taking a bunch of wild swings and hoping that it's going to connect with something that will lead to something else, rather than try and focus on making the movie that they're making good. And it's missing all of the special ingredients that make Friday the 13th movies fun and special. Some of them are there in this sort of hollow form, but it's just not working for me. I like the character of what's his name, Cheese McGillicuddy, the bounty hunter. That guy, Cheese McGillicuddy. I like the whole idea of that character, but as we talk through it and we're like, what if that was Ash? So much cooler than Crichton Duke.
My theory stands.
Yeah. And like, you know, I like the theory and I wish that it were true, because it would make the movie so much more interesting if Ash from the Evil Dead was there and he knew a butt fuckload about Jason Voorhees, because of course he would, because he's been fighting demons forever. And he's like, oh yeah, this Crystal Lake killer sounds like a deadite. I should go investigate, you know? He drives up in his car that he has in every movie and pulls out his robot hand and stuff. And like, let's do that. Yeah, when it comes to Home Alone of it all, it's not really hard. It's like you said, the opening, it gets you so excited for something that just doesn't exist afterwards. Final thoughts are that this movie doesn't work for me. The more we talked about it, the more I realized that like outside of the diner scene, the kills are not really all that interesting. There's not a lot of cool stuff going on. There's some weird earnesty characters, as we talked about, and there's some interesting characters that pop in and out, but not enough to make me think that this is a good movie. There's stuff in it that I like, but not enough to make me say that I'm going to watch this again. And I'm kind of like, I realize why now that this is the one that I've seen the least, because I don't like it that much. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a heart that falls out of your body and it beats once and then it just turns into a puddle of goo and ooze, and you're like, ah, damn, I wanted it to keep beating.
So, first of all, I'm sure Jason in Hell is simply him at a desk with a math problem in front of him. 2 + 0 =. So, spoiler alert, that's
he just
my
cuts
rating.
the whole desk in half with a machete.
Yeah.
It reappears.
So I'm going to preface this by, I gave this movie a rating for my Letterboxd, and I'm going to read my review on Letterboxd, but I did bump it down a full star. Jason Goes to Hell was not what I expected. It's fun as a Jason horror movie, but he isn't really in it that much. I won't spoil why, but if you've seen it, you know what I mean. I was expecting a literal trip to hell and battling demons. The film improves in cinematography and gore, probably the most graphic Friday the 13th in the series. That said, it feels like a soft reboot from the weird military bit in the first act to the non-spoiler I mentioned. It could have been more of a continuation. The acting, dialogue, rules, and plot are inconsistent. 3 out of 5, worth seeing if you've never watched it, but I doubt it's worth revisiting.
You had a 4 out of 5 originally.
No. 3 out of, I give it a 2 out of 5
Oh, you gave me
because
2 this
of us
time.
discussing it. This is a rare situation where I go the other way. I give this movie a 2 out of 5, down from a 3 out of 5. I also give this movie, like, thinking a movie is one thing, and then having a reaction to it, and then going back and like analyzing it maybe too hard, and really just discovering that it is not what you thought it was.
But you guys remember when Steven ordered that martini at the beginning? Crazy.
But with that, we're just about ready to get out of here, but we have to do our plugs. So let's see what this sting for that looks like.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and.
Cody, what do you got going on, brother?
Yeah, I think it's in 3 weeks from now. I believe it is. Check your local listings for Ghosts, CBS Global in Canada, CBS in America, Paramount Plus. If you nasty, I'll be back on. I'll be back on Ghosts then. So keep your eyes peeled for that. As well, you can always check out the past episodes of Spooked. Went on for 10 years. Over 500 episodes, over 400 different guests, some horror classic guests have been on. And so you can check that out and go to, if you're a fan of Survivor as well, I do have a Survivor after show podcast called Merge Boot. And we are in the midst of Survivor season 50 right now, which is a very exciting season of Survivor. And, if you're a Survivor fan, it probably has you as boned up as I am just talking about it right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cody. Please come back to the show sooner than later. You were a great guest, and I really enjoyed talking to you. Like, legitimately, you're a fun person to talk to. And I hope I'll give you the next time. I always say this to our guests who come on for the first time. Typically, they're given a movie. I don't know why I was trying to put up airs like you pick the movie. But the next time, you will definitely get to pick the movie. And it will
Trying
be
to
Jason
deface
10.
me.
Yeah, it'll be Jason X, and you'll like it. That said, Steven, what do you got cooking on the old back burner these days?
Well, I'm working on refurbishing Randy, which is this audio comedy written by Mike Sachs, and currently going through the latter half of those episodes right now, dusting off some old jokes that maybe are a little too weird for 2026. But doing some rebuilding of some of the scenes as well, which is pretty cool. But we're also working on a new series with him as well, and we're currently kind of running through the scripts for that. And we did a table read last week, and it was quite fun. I don't know if I can talk too much more about that, but it's cool. I'm looking at the cast list, and it's pretty funky. There's a lot of crazy people. I hope we get them all. And it's funny. It's quite funny. So I'll bring you guys more information on that as we develop it, but it looks like we're aiming for the fall for a release on that, but not sure. And then, as I say every week, I am the voice of Darth Theorist and the Three-Eyed Theorist, and our new channel, the Half-Blood Theorist, where I do the narration as well as all the character voices. We've got tons of episodes every week, so come check that out if you like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or no, Game of Thrones, not Lord of the Rings. I'd love to do a Lord of the Rings one, but
I'm sure
don't
guy is
manifest it. It's too much work.
Too much work.
Too much already. And then also I just did some stuff for Tinyverse this week as well. That's a video game that should be coming out this year at some point. But yeah, that's all stuff that I've been doing, and I'll tell you more about the stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Hey Jason. Hey Steve. I know you guys are doing episode 222 of the podcast soon. And to show my dedication, I'm going to walk through a bunch of geese to prove that I would go through anything for you guys. Okay, nothing to it but to do it. Wish me luck. Hope I don't get murdered. Holy hell. This is the closest I've ever come to death in my life.
Man, this episode was almost called Alex Goes to Hell.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, thank you, Alex. We're all caught up on your videos. And I realized that I played last week's video for you after the show, and it wasn't during the show. I remember why you were like, we saw that. It's because we talked for an hour after the show. Anyway, my name is Jason R. Phillips. I am the voice and announcer of Superkick Wrestling here in Toronto. We have a show coming up on March 20th. And the two main event matches that are being featured are the returning Chris Chambers versus Jax Williams for the 420 championship, which is going to be a goddamn banger. And also Eric Young returning to Superkicked in a rematch against Jesse V in the main event. Also going to be a goddamn banger. Those are going to be great. You can also find me on a Survivor after show podcast called Super Mater Brothers Podcast, where we are talking about season 50 of Survivor. God damn it, Cody. What a season it's been so far.
You guys should do a crossover episode like Freddy versus
right?
Jason.
Yeah. We'll talk about that off camera. But hey, did you see this one? You can find each and every week right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other places, wherever you find it, and then also on demand over the weekend following on all of the same places, Spotify and YouTube. We do it every week. It's a big show that we do, and I love it. And it's mine and Steven's baby that we had together. You all know how a baby works. But we have merchandise that Steven has illustrated. Steven is a very talented illustrator. We have such t-shirts and mugs and hats and jackets that you can get featuring Corporal Tunnel Syndrome. There he is. We have the Howie Mandela effect. We have the Grimoire of Familiar Killers, the original four that we did. They're dropping like flies, folks. Soon enough, it's only going to be Michael Myers forever, because that series never seems to end. But coming up next week, we're going to add the Xenomorph in place of Freddy, and Scream is in place of Chucky. We also have the Eldritch Millennial that you can get on a shirt or a mug or whatever else. We also have Kill-Aid. Speaking of Friday the 13th, we've got Twinkerbell. You can get Twinkerbell on a shirt if you'd like to. He's a fan favorite of us all. And our newest, Chef's Fingers.
Yum.
Yep. And here's a picture of fireworks. Anyway, with that, that's the end of the show. Okay, so I usually prep our guests for this who have never been on, but it's very simple. Cody, you know the name of the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I count backwards from like a 3, would you be able to say that? 3, 2, 1.
Hey, did you see this one?
What if Freddy was actually, like, you know how that worm baby looked like kind of like a burnt face man? What if Freddy was the deadite that was inside Jason the whole time?
Oh my god. Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
ver, hijo de la chingada. Deje de estar viendo memes, pendejo.
A la verga, me vale verga, perro. Y cálense a la verga, hija de su puta madre, a la verga. La verga, vergazos.